subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Decided to choose between them. Now the 6 members of the Imperial fighting team and the 6 members of Shrek are ready to fight souls, and the 2 sides are facing each other on the stage. The 6 people from Shrek Academy are in a standard team battle formation. After losing Xiao Wu, Dai Mubai from the power attack system, and Zhu Zuking from the agility attack system stood in the front row. Behind them was Tang San from the control system. On Tang San's left was Ma Hongjun. Behind him it was Oscar and Ning Rongrong. The formation of the 6 members of the Royal Fighter Team is relatively simple. Whether they are attacking or controlling, they all stand on the same level and line up in a dense formation. It can also be said that the 6 members of the Royal Do team are in the front row and with Lu Bai's shadow assistance. All the members need to do is use their most powerful attacks and speed to defeat the opponent. In terms of the momentum of both sides' formations, Shrek's hexagonal formation looked more conservative, while the 6 members of the Royal Fighter Team, standing in the same row, had the momentum to suppress the opponent. At this moment, not only the people on the Soul fighting stage are getting ready, but the audience below the stage is also waiting and watching. More and more people are coming here, almost filling half of the playground. The teachers of Shrek Academy, the 3 education committee members, Prince Xuesheng, Douluo, and others stood together. Around them were students and teachers from Tiando Royal Academy and handymen. Some spectators were talking in low voices, while others were quietly watching the 2 sides on the Soul fighting stage. Seeing that the people on the Spirit fighting stage were ready, Teacher Shigao, who was in charge of presiding over the team fighting Spirit, cleared his throat and shouted, "Both sides, activate the Spirit." Almost at the moment when the last word of the voice disappeared, the 6 Shrek people had completed the release of their martial souls and soul rings. Martial spirits of different shapes appeared at the same time, yellow and purple soul rings spinning under the feet of Tang San and others. The soul power auras emitted from each other blended together, causing the atmosphere on the left side of the soul fighting platform to suddenly solidify. Evil-eyed white tiger, nether civet cat, blue silver grass, evil fire phoenix, 7 treasures glazed pagoda, and sausage martial spirit. On Shrek's side, the most inconspicuous blue silver grass martial spirit became the focus of everyone's attention. Tang San released not only the blue silver grass martial spirit and 3 spirit rings, but also the 8 spider spears with attached spirit bones. Revealing the attached soul bone in front of everyone was done after Yu Xiaojing and Tang San discussed it, because the enemy they faced this time was very powerful. Tang San had been beaten by Lu Bao before and was unable to fight back. They were knocked unconscious when the 8 spider soul bones were released. Having learned from the past, both Tang San and Yu Xiaojing knew that they had to use their trump cards in advance to have a chance of winning. Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuking, who were standing in the front row, also wanted to make it easier to use martial soul fusion skills. Yu Xiaojing had already made arrangements for this group battle soul, so he confidently agreed to fight with the Huangdo team again. One game. Everyone present was shocked when they saw 8 spider legs emerging from Tang San's body. The 3 education committee members already knew that Tang San had an external soul bone, so they were not surprised but happy when they saw this scene. Seeing the horrified look on Prince Xuesheng's face, who strongly opposed Shrek Academy, Meng Xinji's education committee couldn't help but smile proudly, holding his head high and saying, "His Royal Highness Prince Xuesheng, now you know how outstanding those Shrek students are, right? If not, you insist on having your own way, and such a genius has long been a member of our Tiando Royal Academy." After hearing this, Prince Xuesheng felt that he had been humiliated by Meng Xinji, and he gritted his teeth with hatred. Standing next to Meng Xinji, the Jillian Education Committee echoed, "Not only Tang San, but other Shrek students also have their own talents. An outstanding soul master should have an excellent soul ring configuration. Not only are Shrek students with the best combination of soul rings and such high martial soul talents, if they can be cultivated with the resources of Tiando Royal Academy, they will definitely be the top beings on the mainland. Your Highness, Prince Snow Star, do you understand now? Refuse, it's not a certain academy, but the future powerhouses of the mainland. Noticing that Prince Snowstar was shocked by the talents of Tang San and others, Flanders finally felt relieved from the grievance he had been holding back. He smiled knowingly, pushed up his glasses, and said harshly, "It's too early for your Royal Highness to be shocked now." Well, Shrek is called the Monster Academy. How can the students it trains only be of this level? Just wait and see. You will be surprised by the fighting spirits later. I remember Dean Flanders said that Tang San was the disciple taught by the master, right? Meng Shinji looked at Flanders and said with great interest, "I didn't expect that the waste spirit Blue Silver Grass could also possess the most powerful spirit. Excellent soul ring configuration. In addition, Tang San also has an external soul bone. This is really a different kind of genius. There are no useless martial spirits, only useless soul masters. As long as you find the right training direction, even a useless martial spirit can be cultivated." Yu Xiaojing said calmly, "Tang San's soul ring configuration is not what you think. Simple. Both are 100-year spirit rings, but there is a difference between a 100-year limit and a 400-year limit. The spirit ring suggestions I gave Tang San Blue Silver Grass are all within the limit that the human body can bear. The limit range of soul ring absorption that I recommend is that the first soul ring lasts for 423 years, the second soul ring lasts for 764 years, the third soul ring lasts for 1,760 years, and the fourth soul ring lasts for 1,760 years. The soul ring has a lifespan of 3,000 to 5,000 years, and the fifth soul ring has a lifespan of 10,000 to 12,000 years. Every soul ring of Tang San is almost close to the limit range of this soul ring absorption. If you can also obtain soul rings according to this limit range in the future, it will be enough to give Lan Yinxiao, who is a useless martial spirit, excellent control by then. The Blue Silver Grass will be comparable to the celestial vine spirit of the Jilin Education Committee." After hearing this explanation, Meng Shinji looked at Yu Xiaojing with some respect and said respectfully, "Master, to be honest with you, the Jilin Education Committee, the Baibaishan Education Committee, and I all came from Wuhuan Hall. We all paid attention to the 10 core competitivenesses of Wuhuan that you announced at Wuhuan Hall. The Jilin Education Committee also adopted the theories you summarized when teaching students." "Oh," Yu Xiaojing said calmly. "The 3 education committee members are considered highly respected in the Soul Master world. Do you believe my theory?" Meng Shinji laughed. "Tang San's excellence is right in front of us. If the master's theory is wrong, how could he teach a disciple like Tang San? Master, real gold is not afraid of fire. I believe that one day, whether your theory is right or wrong will be visible to the world." Having said this, Meng Shinji glared at Prince Shueshing and said angrily, "Your Highness, have you heard everything? Not just Shrek's students. Shrek's teachers are also rare talents. If the Royal Academy can accept this master, maybe every student in the academy can have a talent like Tang San." Meng Shinji Education Committee, don't you think you talk a little too much? Watch the game quietly. I am too lazy to talk nonsense with you. After an angry sentence, Prince Shueshing was really aggrieved. Enduring the 3 education committee members and sure Teacher Lake's sinister words made him furious, and his hands on his back were already clenched extremely tightly. But just when his heart was full of resentment, a scene that surprised him even more appeared. On the right side of the soul fighting stage, the 6 members of the Imperial Fighting Team also completed the release of their martial spirits and soul rings. The inherently intimidating blue electric Tyrannosaurus spirit, as well as the most poisonous jade phosphorus snake spirit, are as good as the blue electric Tyrannosaurus black tortoise spirit, wind chime bird, and ghost leopard. One martial spirit after another appeared, like an illusion from behind the 6 members of the Imperial Fighting Team. Everyone's eyes moved away from Tang San, first falling on Yu Tianheng and Du Guyan, and finally converging on Lu Baoyan's position. Looking at the 10-meter-tall black figure, Meng Shinji and Jilin were stunned. They knew that Lu Baoyan's martial spirit had evolved into a shadow martial spirit, but today they saw it with their own eyes. Could this huge black figure that looked very similar to Lu Baoyan be the current shadow martial spirit? What surprised Meng Shinji and Shrek the most, and even horrified them all, was that among the 6 members of the Imperial Fighting Team who were lined up in a row, Lu Haoli, standing in the middle, not only had such a huge dark martial spirit, but it was spinning at his feet. It turned out to be a combination of 2 yellow, 1 purple, and 1 black soul rings. Black is originally the most inconspicuous color, but anyone who knows a little about soul masters will understand what it means. Not only Yi Lingling and Sure Mo who were watching the battle in the audience, but also other onlookers were exclaimed. The 3 professors, Meng Xinji, Jilin, and Bai Baoshan, showed expressions of disbelief as they stared closely at the 4th 10,000-year soul ring that appeared on Lu Hao. At this time, Flanders and Yu Xiaojing, who were proud of their students, also looked surprised, even horrified. Yu Xiaojing's indifferent face showed a bit of shock, astonishment, and confusion. His eyes were full of doubts and alarm, and his expression was particularly brilliant. Who would have thought that in this sudden team spirit fight, they would actually see a 10,000-year spirit ring appearing on a spirit master with only 4 spirit rings? Ming Shenji Education Committee was unable to control his emotions. Is this a 10,000-year soul ring? The Jilin Education Committee was also shocked when they saw the black soul ring on Lu Bao's body. The 4th soul ring had already reached 10,000 years? The 4th ring of 10,000 years? Prince Xuexing's eyes flashed with light, and a dazzling light flashed through his eyes. All the grievances he suffered in his heart disappeared, and he sneered. Professor Meng Xinji, what did you just say? What are you talking about? You said Shrek students are outstanding? But in my opinion, compared with Lu Haoli, who has the 4th ring of 10,000 years, their talents seem not enough. Having said this, Prince Xuexing finally felt confident. He glared at Meng Xinji and retorted, You said that Shrek students are outstanding. Are the students from our own academy weak? I don't want to talk nonsense anymore. After Shrek loses this team battle, just get out. Tiando Royal Academy is full of talents. Shrek students are not bad. Meng Xinji Education Committee. You seem to have told King Jin that Shrek's teachers are also outstanding, right? As he spoke, Prince Xuexing felt more and more happy. He finally found an opportunity to refute the 3 education committee members and everyone at Shrek. His eyes swept past Flanders and other Shrek Academy teachers and finally fell on Yu Xiaojing. Slightly, he said sarcastically, Master is worthy of being a master. Your theory is really gold and is not afraid of fire. Didn't Master just say that the absorption limit of the 4th soul ring is between 3,000 and 5,000 years? Then why can Lu Haoli be able to absorb the 4th soul ring for 10,000 years? How are you going to use your theoretical knowledge to explain it now? Look, come on, your theory is not invincible, right? If Tiando Royal Academy accepts you, wouldn't it mean that you have misled the disciples? Yu Xiaojing wanted to refute, but facts spoke louder than words. If he wanted to refute successfully, unless the 4th ring of 10,000 years, named Lu Bao, was fake, otherwise, this dazzling 4th ring of 10,000 years would be enough to prove his theoretical stand. Can't stand still. After careful consideration, Yu Xiaojing finally remembered that Tang San's 3rd spirit ring absorbed the spirit ring of the man-faced demon spider with over 2,000 years of cultivation. According to the soul ring absorption limit range that I have researched, the 3rd soul ring can only absorb soul rings that are more than 1,700 years old at most. It turns out that my theory has long been rejected by my apprentice. Seeing Yu Xiaojing not saying a word, being in embarrassment and looking away, Meng Xinji's face was also a little ugly. How could he have thought that the theory summed up by his respected master was so fragile? Your Highness, if you have to be merciful and merciful, don't make things too difficult for the master. Meng Xinji still chose to help Yu Xiaojing, saying, The so-called theory is achieved through practice. After all, the master is influenced by his own martial arts spirit. Due to the limitations of defects, there is no way to practice it personally. Being able to summarize these theoretical laws is already superior to others. Why bother to ridicule him? Prince Snow Star sneered. After the counterattack, just now, all the grievances in his heart were relieved. With a proud smile on his face, he put his hands behind his back and quietly watched the team battle on the soul fighting stage. After Lu Bao's 4th 10,000-year soul ring appeared, the talents of everyone on the soul fighting stage were eclipsed. In front of the 10,000-year soul ring, Those soul masters who only had 3 or 2 yellow and purple soul rings flickering on their bodies seemed to be incompetent. So inferior. Even Tang San, who had soul bones growing out of his back, was so humble in front of the shadow martial spirit and the 10,000 years fourth ring. The purple devil eyes stared at the strange eyes of the shadow spirit. Tang San was already forced to sweat a few drops by the deep and dark aura. How could the 8 spider spears defeat the black figure 10 meters away? Poison? Tang San smiled heartily. Poison was Tang Sek's special skill. After being forced by the soul power of the Jilin Education Committee, the 8 spider spears with attached soul bones have completely merged with the body and are no longer separated from each other, and their toxicity has greatly increased. If you want to win this battle of souls, you only need to use ghost shadows and the poison of the 8 spider spears with attached soul bones to turn the tide of the battle. Even Duge Yin, who was protected by green phosphorus snake venom, could not withstand the poison of the 8 spider spears. No matter how powerful the soul master named Lu Haoli was, he would definitely be defeated by the poison of the 8 spider spears. Chapter 85, the 4th soul skill, Shadow Devouring on the Soul Fighting Stage. The Imperial Fighter Team and the Shrek 6 have finished releasing their martial souls and soul rings. Seeing the 10,000-year soul ring flashing on Lu Baiwal's body, Tang San finally understood why he was knocked unconscious by his kick. It turned out to be the difference between the martial soul ring, and soul power level. However, Tang San did not lose his self-confidence because of this. For him, if he really wanted to kill him, he could definitely kill Lu Bao with the help of Tang Sek's unique skills and Tang Sek's hidden weapons. So what appears on the surface may not necessarily be a person's true strength. As the referee, Teacher Shigao shouted, "Fighting Soul, start dash!" The surging spirit power aura rose up in response. The 2 opposing beast spirits were possessed by spirits almost at the same time. Each beast spirit master had the characteristics of various spirits. When a team battle begins, the first thing to move is not the front row of both sides, but each other's auxiliary soul masters. Ning Rongrong used her first and second soul skills to increase the strength and speed of Shrek's friends. The light of the 7 treasures glazed pagoda acted on Tang San, Ma Hongjun, Dai Mubai, and Zhu Zuking respectively. Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun also used their respective amplifying soul skills, White Tiger Vajra Transformation and Fire Phoenix. But just after Shrek and the others received various boosts, the 1st and 4th soul rings under Lu Baoyang's feet lit up. The 1st soul skill locked onto the shadows of the Shrek crowd, and the 4th soul skill was used, Shadow Devour. Tang San, Dai Mubai, Ma Hongjun, and Zhu Zuking all felt their hearts tremble almost at the same time. A strange feeling arose spontaneously, as if they were locked by some force. This feeling was exactly the effect of Lu Bai's 1st soul skill, Shadow Locking. Tang San, who had rich combat experience, naturally knew that it was the enemy's soul skill that was causing trouble, and immediately reminded him, "Everyone be careful, we are locked." We were locked with him before. The Royal Do team didn't feel this way when they were fighting. It should be that soul skill called Lu Baoyang. As soon as he finished speaking, Tang San felt that his attributes were suddenly weakened. The strength and speed increase from the 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda he had just obtained disappeared out of thin air. Not only his strength and speed attributes, but also his endurance, physical strength, mental power, soul power, and defense. Physical attributes such as strength and strength have inexplicably dropped a lot, and it is obvious that I can't exert my full strength. All attributes weakened? Tang San suddenly realized that there was only one possibility for this situation to suddenly occur, and that was that he was affected by soul skills. And this soul skill is related to the feeling of being locked just now. Is it another soul skill of Na Lu Bao? The same feeling appeared on Ma Hongjun, Dai Mubai, and Zhu Zuking. Including Tang San, the various increases they had just obtained suddenly disappeared, and all their body attributes were reduced. Only then did Tang San realize that the fierce sunlight was shining on the soul fighting platform, but there was no shadow under his feet. The purple demon pupil clearly saw that there were no shadows under the feet of Ma Hongjun, Dai Mubai, and Zhu Zuking, but there were shadows under the feet of Ning Rongrong and Oscar. With the memory of 2 lifetimes, Tang San, who came from the Tang sect, had fought against many masters. Thinking of Lu Liuyang's black martial spirit and the knowledge taught by the master, he instantly understood that Lu Liuyang's martial spirit might be it was the shadow. It was his own shadow that was locked just now, so the shadow disappeared. Just as Tang San analyzed, his shadow disappeared because of the influence of Lu Haoli's fourth soul skill. The fourth soul ring was obtained by hunting a 15,000-year-old soul-eating demon spider, and the accompanying soul skill was called shadow devouring. When the soul skill acts on a locked shadow, the shadow will be swallowed. The shadow owner will be in a shadowless state, and all attributes will be reduced by 10%. Once the living body is in a shadowless state, it cannot be exposed to the sun for a long time. Otherwise, the body will gradually disappear due to the absence of a shadow. The fourth soul skill, shadow devouring, can only devour four shadows. This is closely related to the soul ring and soul power. That's why Lu Haoli swallowed the shadows of Tang San, Ma Hongjun, Dai Mubai, and Zhu Zuqing, because the four of them are Shrek's main fighting force. After swallowing the four shadows, Lu Haoli can superimpose them on his teammates or himself, and within half an hour, he has the authority to superimpose or peel off these four shadows at will. After half an hour, the swallowed shadows will actively return to the owner's body. Lu Haoli locked on Yu Tianheng's shadow and superimposed all four of the swallowed shadows on him, which increased his attributes by a full 40%. At the same time, the second soul skill was used, and Yu Tianheng, Du Yin, and others gained the ability to become shadows, and their attack and speed increased by 50%. On this soul fighting stage, the one who has experienced the greatest increase is Yu Tianheng. Because of the superposition of four shadows of shadow swallowing, all attributes are increased by 40%, and the attack and speed of shadow attack are increased by 50%. If coupled with the increase in his own dragon transformation skills and the third soul skill, Thunder Fury, then level 39 Yu Tianheng alone is enough to challenge a level 49 soul sect. After receiving the assistance of the second soul skill shadow attack, Yu Tianheng, Shurimo, Yu Feng, Osluo, and Du Yin immediately transformed into shadows and escaped to the surface, quickly attacking Tang San and others in the form of black shadows. Lu Badan stayed where he was, controlling the battle and assisting his teammates. This team battle is too simple for him, so he will not take too many actions. Instead, he will act as a supporting role, becoming the shadow of Yu Tianheng and the other 5 people, helping them defeat Shrek. Seeing Yu Tianheng's 5 people approaching quickly in the form of black shadows, Tang San was not afraid to laugh back. Perhaps in other people's eyes, Yu Tianheng's 5 people had turned into shadows and sneaked into the surface, unable to see or touch them. However, the microscopic mirror of the purple demon eye has the ultimate power of observation. In the scene seen by the purple demon eye, the figures of Yu Tianheng and the others were clearly reflected. It was as if Yu Tianheng and the others were swimming in a shadow space, and their figures could be seen by the purple demon eye. Clear as day, being able to see the enemy gave me a sense of security in my heart. The first soul ring lit up, and the first soul skill, Blue Silver Coil, was used. A large number of blue and silver vines grew crazily in front of Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuqing in the front row, and quickly rushed towards the 5 Yu Tianheng who were approaching in the form of black shadows. Just when a large number of blue and silver vines almost entangled Yu Tianheng and the 5 of them, the 4 of Yu Tianheng shuttled into the shadows of the 2 auxiliary soul masters, Ning Rongrong and Oscar, and then jumped up from them. Du Yin sneaking into the surface in a dark shadow state, waiting for opportunities. After the purple devil eyes noticed that the blue-silver vines were thrown into the air, Tang San reacted in time. With a turn of the Xintian skill, he used the method of controlling the crane to capture the dragon to throw 2 blue-silver vines towards Oscar and Ning Rongrong behind him. A swishing sound sounded, and the 2 blue-silver vines had already wrapped around the waists of Oscar and Ning Rongrong. When Yu Tianheng and others jumped out of their shadows, Tang San took the lead and pulled Ning Rongrong and Oscar away. Arrived. When Oscar and Ning Rongrong reacted, they realized that they were already standing on the left and right of Tang San. Standing at his original position were Yu Feng and Osluo, who had returned to human form from the shadow state, as well as Yu Tianheng and Shurimo. Only then did Tang Sen realize that there were 5 black shadows attacking him. If the 4 black shadows were Yu Tianheng and Shurimo, as well as Oslo and Yufeng, then where did the remaining black shadow go? Duguyan? Tang San immediately figured out that Yu Tianheng and the others parted ways while Lan Yin entangled them in the air. The 4 of them came to sneak attack Oscar and Ning Rongrong, and the remaining Dugu Yin should be hiding somewhere. Yin Zi, divide the battlefield. This was the message Lu Bao sent to Dugu Yin lurking on the ground through communication between shadows. After receiving the order, Dugu Yin jumped up from the ground and changed from the shadow state back to human form. At this time, she was possessed by the jade phosphorus snake and drove the snake's tail to fly quickly in midair. The 3 soul rings on her body flashed, and the jade phosphorus red poison, the 3 toxins blue phosphorus poison and purple phosphorus poison, are mixed in the body in a mixed poison and spit out from the mouth in an instant. Suddenly, countless toxins were mixed into the air and slowly changed color. As an expert in using poison, how could Tang San not be able to detect the abnormal movement in the air? But when his purple devil eyes saw the mixed poison particles flowing in the air, it was already too late. The green phosphorus snake poison released by Dugu Yin has already formed a large-scale dark purple poisonous mist, submerging everyone in Shrek. Yu Tianheng and others quickly took the anti-poison pill prepared by Dugu Yin in advance and temporarily gained resistance to jade phosphorus snake venom. Seeing Tang San and the others being submerged in the dark purple poisonous mist, Yu Tianheng smiled and thought to himself, Lu Bao had something. Unexpected prophetic ability? Otherwise, how could he figure out Tang San, whom he had just met not long ago? First, he used blue-silver entanglement to test his opponent, and then he used blue-silver vines to help his teammates escape from inevitable dangers. These fighting habits of Tang San were completely seen through by Lu Baohai. When he obtained the second soul skill Shadow Attack, Lu Baohua had already used shadow communication to convey a tactical arrangement to Yu Tianheng and others. That is, Yu Tianheng and the others would pretend to attack Oscar and Ning Rongrong and wait until Tang San took action to save them. Dugu Yin then used jade phosphorus snake venom to divide the battlefield and form a one-on-one situation. Now all the tactical arrangements are in perfect progress. After flooding most of the soul fighting platform where Shrek is with poisonous mist, Dugu Yin controls the flow of dark purple poisonous mist to form a stream of shunts. Several poisonous streams are formed between the shunts. The fog surrounded the circle, trapping the 6 Shreks in poisonous circles. Seeing that his friends were all trapped in the poison circle and unable to move freely, Tang Sen put his hands on his waist pockets and said calmly, "So what if the poison is mixed with green phosphorus? Dugu Yin, I have already broken through your poison mix once. Today I will do it again, break it once." As he spoke, he shook his hands vigorously and threw the 2 water bladders taken out of his belt into the air. At the same time, he shouted, "Boss Die, White Tiger Fierce Light Wave, Fatty, Phoenix Firewire. Activate." Chapter 86 Tang San's resistance in a previous team spirit fight with the Imperial fighting team at the Soto Spirit Arena. Dugu Yin also used the Jade Phosphorus Snake Venom Mist to divide the battlefield, but was burned by Realgar mixed with spirits and flames. Now seeing Tang San throwing 2 water bags into the air, Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun, who were trapped in the poison circle, immediately understood. Without hesitation, they spit out a White Tiger's fierce light wave and went straight to the water bags thrown by Tang San. Ma Hongjuan's Phoenix Fire Line followed closely behind. When the Phoenix Fire Line and the White Tiger Fierce Light wave hit the 2 water bags, extremely violent flames can be produced to burn away Dugu Yan's Jade Phosphorus Snake Poisonous Mist. Unfortunately, Lu Hao had already used the clairvoyance ability of his special pupils to ignore obstacles and clearly see the situation inside the Jade Phosphorus Snake Venom Mist. After absorbing the medicinal effect of seeing through autumn dew, Lu Bao's strange pupils not only gained the ability to see through strange objects in all directions, but also could see through fog and illusions. What's more, they could use the ultimate ice and fire energy to act on them through mental power and eyesight. On any object. Just when the Phoenix Fire Line and White Tiger Fierce Light Wave were about to hit the 2 water bags churning in the air, Lu Baoli closed his left pupil and concentrated all his mental power and ultimate fire energy into his right pupil. The right pupil, which was emitting vermilion light, suddenly flashed with a faint light, which actually burned up the Phoenix Fire line and White Tiger Fierce Light Wave that were about to hit the two water bags. Seeing the Phoenix flames he sprayed being burned by the sudden black flames, Ma Hongjun was shocked. The next moment, Lu Bai's left eye and mental power had locked onto Ma Hongjun's body, and the ultimate ice energy was released, instantly freezing Ma Hongjun. Light black ice cubes. Fat man. Tang Sen looked at Ma Hongjun, who had turned into a black ice sculpture in surprise, confused. The White Tiger Fierce Light Wave released by Dai Mubai was also burned by the ultimate black flame at the same moment. However, Dai Mubai was not as easy to deal with as Ma Hongjun. As soon as he felt that the mental power was locked on him, he immediately used the White Tiger Protective Shield to defend himself. This way, he was able to avoid the danger of being frozen into ice by Lu Bai's left pupil. Xiao San, it's the guy named Lu Bao. He seems to have the same ice skills as you. The fat man's flames were burned by black flames, and the fat man turned into ice cubes. It was all caused by that guy's eyes. After listening to Dai Mubai's words, Tang Sen suddenly realized that he could not break the encirclement formed by the green phosphorus snake's poisonous mist through realgar wine and flames, so he had no choice but to use flying to escape from the poisonous circle. Xiao Ao, flying mushroom sausage and detoxified small sausage. After receiving the news from Tang San, Oscar, who was trapped in the poisonous circle, had already made several sausages in advance and threw them at all his friends. Dai Mubai, Tang San, Zhu Zuking, and Ning Rongrong caught the sausage at the same time. After eating the sausage, the toxins inhaled in the body were instantly eliminated. Elusive, colorful wings grew out from behind the four of them. When they flapped their wings, they were all fly high into the sky and break out of the venomous mist of the jade phosphorus snake. At this moment, Yu Feng, possessed by the wind chime bird, waited in the air for a long time and finally waited until the prey broke into his area of expertise. The third soul skill was used, and the wind-controlling wings suddenly burst out, setting off a violent wind in the air, directly hitting Oscar, who had just broken out of the poisonous fog. Withstanding Yufeng's attack, Oscar, who was a food type, had no resistance at all. He let out a scream in the air and hit the ground hard, landing at the feet of Zhao Wuji. Seeing Oscar, who had fallen out of the soul fighting platform and was seriously injured, Zhao Wuji immediately helped him up anxiously. Yi Lingling treated Oscar. After all, this was a sparring match, and anyone who finished the battle could receive treatment. After Oscar was eliminated, Yu Feng's soul skills were once again aimed at the auxiliary Ning Rongrong. But just before the soul skill was released, Tang San flew silently behind Yu Feng, his purple devil eyes radiating cold light, and the purple bright 8 spider spear behind him stretched out, its tip like an 8-pointed cold star. At the same time, it stabbed Yu Feng's body. Yu Feng thought he was going to be doomed, but a force acted on him. In the blink of an eye, he came to the soul fighting platform from the air. With his feet on the floor of the soul fighting platform, Yu Feng looked into the air, and then discovered that it was Lu Bao who used the shadow swap skill. At this moment, Yu Feng appeared in Lu Bao Bao's position, and Lu Bao Bao appeared in Yu Feng's position and took the thrust of Tang San's 8 spider spear on his behalf. The poisonous 8 spider spear stabbed Lu Bao's chest hard, and purple venom flowed out from the tip of the spear. Tang San couldn't help but be shocked when Lu Bao suddenly appeared in front of him, facing him, and his 8 spider spears stabbed Lu Bao's body. What surprised him even more was that when such a sharp 8 spider spear pierced Lu Bao's chest, it was like stabbing into extremely hard steel. The 8 spider spear was instantly shaken by the anti-shock force, and a crackling sound was heard. The next moment, the tip of the 8 spider spear was shattered. The 8 spider spears that have been completely integrated with the body are equivalent to becoming part of the body. The pain caused by the broken tip of the 8 spider spears is as painful as 10 fingers being smashed. The terrifying tearing feeling was transmitted to Tang San's brain, causing him to let out a scream. The illusory, colorful wings behind his back disappeared, and he fell to the sole fighting platform, suffering from the pain of the tip of the 8 spider spears shattering. At the same time, Lu Haoli, who had no flying ability, also fell. He landed safely, but Tang Sen suffered extremely severe pain. He forced his body to twist in the air before barely landing on the sole fighting platform, and took a few steps back to stabilize his body. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed that the tip of the 8 spider spears was shattered on his back. Tang Sen finally endured the pain and torture, and looked at Lu Haoli with difficulty, only to find that Lu Haoli's school uniform was stained with some of the 8 spider spears' poison. And scathed outside? How did he do it? Tang San's purple demon eyes couldn't help but dilate slightly. With his extreme observation ability, he discovered that the poison contaminated on Lu Badong's school uniform did not cause any corrosion to him, and there was no sign of poisoning. This was far more terrifying than the green phosphorus snake venom. The poison is extremely poisonous, but why can't it kill him? Lu Haoli wiped the purple venom stained on his school uniform and walked towards Tang San. If an ordinary soul master withstands the full thrust of the 8 spider spears, even if his body is not penetrated, he will still be poisoned by the 8 spider spears. However, Lu Haoli is different. His body has been modified by the Ice and Fire Immortal Grass. He is immune to both water and fire, and is immune to hundreds of poisons. He is indestructible, and he has an indestructible body cultivated by the strange velvet and sky green chrysanthemum elixir, plus the protection of level 50 soul power. With the current Tang San, no matter how sharp and poisonous the 8 spider spears with soul bones were, they couldn't hurt Lu Haoli at all. What's more, according to the original book, Tang San's 8 spider spear is now only a soul bone that is about 2,000 years old. How can it break the indestructible body given by the fairy grass? Seeing Lu Haoli approaching him step by step, Tang San subconsciously stepped back. The tips of the 8 spider spears exploded. The severe pain was still tormenting his thoughts. The blue-silver grass spirit was restrained by Lu Haoli's fire energy. The 8 spider spears couldn't hurt Lu Haoli, and even the poison he was proud of couldn't hurt him. It burned Ma Hongjun's phoenix flame and froze Ma Hongjun into ice. Could it be that the shadow martial spirit also contains the attributes of ice and fire and the ability to be invulnerable to all poisons? Thinking of this, Tang San suddenly felt powerless in his heart. Apart from the Tang sect's hidden weapons, he really couldn't imagine any other way to defeat Lu Haoli. But using a hidden weapon in public, not to mention exposing the existence of the hidden weapon, would also violate the rules of fighting spirit. If the 3 education committee members who admired him very much found that he had stabbed someone in the back and carried out a sneak attack, wouldn't he be scolded? As an upright gentleman, how can he behave like a villain in front of others? If concealed weapons don't work, do we have to use hammer martial arts? No. Tang San immediately rejected this idea. His teacher and father had both told him not to expose the hammer spirit casually. Now in public, how can we ignore the reminders of our father and teachers? When the Titan giant ape captured Xiao Wu before, Tang San had also experienced this feeling of powerlessness, doubting his own strength, and feeling confused about being unable to defeat his opponent. At the same time, Tang San was also thinking that if he was cultivating the hammer spirit, he would definitely be able to injure Lu Haoli with the power of the hammer spirit, and the cultivation would be easier and more powerful than the blue-silver grass. Tang San even wondered if the control route he had been taking was wrong. Just when Tang San was in confusion, Lu Haoli's figure came in front of him out of nowhere, and the fist wrapped in black energy was already close at hand. Tang San reacted instantly, flashed like an illusory figure, and even brought a series of phantoms back a few meters. The third soul skill, the spider web restraint, was suddenly released as he retreated, and a huge purple spider web shot towards Lu Haoli and wrapped him tightly. The first soul skill, blue-silver coil, and the second soul skill, parasitism, were used at the same time. Just as Tang San stepped back a few meters and jumped up with the help of the 8 spider spears thrust into the ground, Lu Haoli was not only restrained by the spider webs, but also attracted Lan Bao, a continuous tangle of silver vines and parasites. Tang San dodged Lu Haoli's attack and counterattacked at the same time. Seeing Lu Haoli being controlled by a series of blue-silver grass, Tang Sen finally regained his composure. There is no time to be confused. This is Tang San's reminder to himself in his heart. His confused brain regains its composure. Tang Sen steps on the ghostly shadow. His Xian Tiankung and Xian Yu hands operate at the same time, moving with extremely strange movement techniques. He didn't believe that the human body could be so tough. Even if Sure Mo had a martial spirit with strong defense like the Xuanwu turtle, he was seriously injured and poisoned when he was stabbed by the 8 spider spears. Tang San firmly believed that before the 8 spider spear could not stab Lu Bao, Lu Bao must have used some kind of soul skill. Now that his 3 soul skills have controlled Lu Bao, if he used the 8 spider spear to stab Lu Bao again, there should be effect. By moving with ghostly shadowy footwork, Tang San had already circled behind Lu Haoli. The purple young 8 spider spears were launched again, and the 8 spider legs stabbed fiercely at Lu Haoli, who was wrapped into a giant cocoon by blue and silver vines. Kung! Bang suddenly. Tang San once again felt the sharp pain of hitting metal. The 8 spider spear pierced Lu Bao's body and was devastated by the shock force. The already broken spear tip was broken again. Tang San let out a scream. This time, not only was venom spilled from the tip of the broken 8 spider spear, but scarlet blood also splattered. The pain was like breaking several bones. Bearing the backlash of the shattered tip of the 8 spider spear, he took a few steps back, but in the next moment, Tang San endured all the severe pain, wiped his black jade hand from his waist, and quickly shot out several dragon whisker needles in the direction of Lu Baoli. In an instant, he counterattacked again. If you want to break the gang key or cause damage to a soul master with extremely high defense, you must naturally use the Dragon Beard Needle, which ranks 8th in the Tang Sect's hidden weapon techniques. The 10 rays of golden light that flew out of Tang San's hand just now were Dragon Beard Needles, a hidden weapon with extremely strong penetrating power. When injected into the human body, it would cause it to curl up, causing the human body to become deformed or even break bones and flesh. Tang San didn't need to worry that using a hidden weapon at this time would be discovered by those watching the battle, because his purple demon eyes had been looking for an opportunity to use the Dragon Beard Needle. And the Dragon Beard Needle he just shot was just right to hide it from everyone present. With their eyes, they will only think that the Dragon Beard Needle is an attack formed by condensing some kind of soul power, and will not find out what kind of hidden weapon it is at all. When the Dragon Beard Needle was injected into Lu Bao's body and he curled up, only Tang San could take it out. Outsiders had to cut off the flesh and bones if they wanted to take it out. It was expected that Lu Bao would not dare to injure himself to take out the Dragon Beard Needle, so Tang San didn't have to worry about long needles will be noticed by others. But what made Tang San eclipse him was that the blue and silver vines that had wrapped Lu Bao into a giant cocoon were constantly melting and disintegrating. 3 seconds later, Lu Bao broke free from the control of the blue-silver vines and appeared in front of him unscathed. The 10 dragon whisker needles he shot not only did not enter Lu Bao's body, but instead hit him like a disembodied soul. It passed through his heart and finally hit the ground under the soul fighting stage, where the 3 education committee members could see it. Seeing these golden thin needles hitting their feet and suddenly curling up into a ball, the 3 education committee members were shocked almost at the same time. These golden thin needles didn't look like the soul skills of the blue-silver grass martial spirit. Could it be that Tang San secretly used some weapon? If this golden needle was curled up in the human body, wouldn't the person who was hit by it be disabled? Fortunately, Lu Bao's shadow state makes him immune to all physical attacks. This kind of weapon cannot cause harm to him. Otherwise, if it were someone else, he would not be safe. The 3 education committee members looked at each other and saw the shock and confusion on each other's faces. How could they have imagined that Tang San, who had given them such a good impression, would secretly use such a vicious weapon in a competition? Disappointed, the moment he saw the Dragon Beard Needle penetrate Lu Bao's body, Tang San's purple demon eyes trembled slightly, because the image of the 3 education committee members shaking their heads in disappointment at him clearly appeared in his eyes. The 3 education committee members discovered that this made Tang San feel ashamed for a moment. What made Tang San even more humiliated and angry was that he used all 3 of his soul skills, the 8 spider spears and poison, the Tang clan's secret skills, and even secretly used the Tang clan's hidden weapons at the risk of being questioned, but still couldn't hurt him. Is Lu bad at all? When watching the blue-silver vines being dissolved and disintegrated, Tang Sen hoped that his blue-silver grass martial spirit could mutate into a fire attribute, so that it could resist the fire energy released by Lu Bao. There is such a big gap between them. Is it really caused by martial spirits and soul rings? Lu Baoli could clearly see the shame and anger on Tang San's face at this moment. After discovering that the 3 education committee members learned that Tang San used a hidden weapon to attack in a sneak attack, Lu Bao smiled and said, "If God does evil, it can be forgiven. If you do evil yourself, you will not survive. Tang San, you're a very deep-rooted villain who likes to carry out sneak attacks. Are you still afraid of being discovered?" As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Baoli's strange pupil shone with cold light. This time, he would not give Tang San another chance to dodge, because the ghost army lurking within a kilometer radius had not locked onto the shadow of a strange and powerful titled Douluo, which means that Tang Hao, who is secretly protecting Tang San, is very likely to spy on Xiaowu. If Tang Hao stops, he can deal with Tang San without any threat. After peeling off the 4 shadows superimposed on Yu Tianing's body, Lu Baobo returned Tang San's shadow to him and superimposed the other 3 shadows on himself, gaining a 30% increase in all attributes. The third soul technique, Shadow Control Strangulation, is activated. Tang San's shadow returned to his feet again, and under the influence of shadow control, the shadow circled up from Tang San's feet until it strangled his neck. Chapter 87 Shrek Academy is gone. The ultimate ice and fire energy was injected into the shadow wrapped around Tang San's body, while his neck was squeezed by the terrifying restraint of the shadow. Tang San also felt the pain of burning fire and cold to the bone. The extreme cold poison and fire poison entered Tang San's body through his skin, causing him to become unevenly cold and hot. The torture he endured was no less painful than the fire poison and cold poison that Lu Bao suffered when he took 2 Ice Fire Immortal Grasses. At this moment, not only was Tang San's shadow immobilized, unable to move, he was also wrapped around his body by his own shadow, tightly binding his neck. The strong binding force squeezed his neck, causing his face to suddenly turn red, and he couldn't even speak. Could only struggle in the endless feeling of suffocation, and the 8 spider spears stabbed at his back crazily. The Xintian technique originally had the magical effect of maintaining health and restoring health. While enduring the squeeze of the shadow binding force, Tang San was also running the Xintian technique, trying to offset some of the pain. Unfortunately, the shadows of Dai Mubai and others that were devoured by the 4th soul skill were superimposed on Lu Haoli's body. All attributes were increased by 30%. The shadow's tenacity and strength attributes were already particularly outstanding. No matter how hard Tang San struggled, he could only lose consciousness bit by bit. The purple demon eyes closed, and Tang San's consciousness gradually blurred amidst the increasingly intense feeling of suffocation. Finally, the 8 spider spears stabbed wildly back into the body. Tang San opened his mouth and closed his eyes, unable to bear the pain of being tortured by the extreme fire poison and cold poison, and passed out. Lu Baoli released the Shadow Control Strangulation, and the shadow that was strangling Tang San's body was released, and Tang San fell to the ground unconscious. Lu Baoli peeled off the 3 shadows superimposed on his body and superimposed them on Yu Tianheng again. Yu Tianheng received a 30% increase in all attributes. Lu Baoyang didn't need to do anything next. He jumped off the soul fighting platform with Tang San in his arms and threw Tang San to Zhao Wuji. After taking Tang San, Zhao Wuji found that Tang San was completely unconscious. His face was ugly, his whole body was cold, there were deep marks on his neck, and his back was covered in blood. Yi Langlian came to Zhao Wuji and released Jiuxin Begonia to treat Tang San. Lu Baoyang did not let Yi Lingling play because he hoped to allow her to preserve her soul power to treat others, so that she could beat Shrek's people half-crippled without worrying that they would die. After treating Tang San was still in a coma. Yi Lingling walked up to Lu Baoyang and asked, "Do you need treatment?" Lu Bao smiled and shook his head. Prince Xuesheng asked, "Lu Bao, The battle is not over yet. Why did you run off the field? My mission is only to contain Tang San. Lu Baoai looked at Prince Xuexing and said, "It's time for me to get Tang San out of the way. Then just leave it to you Tianheng and the others. This spirit fight is theirs. The battle of revenge." "What do you mean?" Yu Xiaojing said coldly. "Master, I'm afraid you have forgotten, right?" Lu Liang said. "In the Soto spirit fighting arena, in the team spirit battle between the Imperial Fighter Team and the Shrek 7 monsters, the Imperial Fighter Team originally had all the advantages, but was defeated by Tang. 3 people turned the tide, and 1 person turned the situation around with a weird spider leg poison. This led to Yu Tianheng and the others losing the game. Without the alternative existence of Tang San, how could Yu Tianheng and the others lose to opponents like Dai Mubai, who have lower soul power than them? So, this time I will eliminate Tang San first, and then I will also abstain from the competition. Let Yu Tianheng and the others fight Dai Mubai and others again. Prove that they will not lose to Shrek's people." After hearing this explanation, Yu Xiaojing said calmly, "Do you think the Shrek 7 monsters were able to defeat the Royal Do team all because of Tang San? Isn't it?" Lu Baoyan asked back. "Without Tang San, can Dai Mubai and the others still win in the Leapfrog Team's spirit battle? It's not just Tang San who is outstanding among the Shrek 7 monsters. Students like Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun are also rare geniuses." Yu Xiaojing said sternly. "After my theoretical guidance and several months of devil training, their talents have been brought to their fullest. Now their potential is far better than other soul masters, and it is reasonable to be able to leapfrog and defeat the Imperial Fighter Team." Lu Hao smiled and said, "May I ask, Master, what is the devil training you are referring to?" Yu Xiaojing said calmly, "This is my unique training method, so there is no need to reveal it to you. Shrek Academy does not have a mimicry training ground." Lu Baoai said, "The training we can provide you with is nothing more than running with weights, eating well, and drinking well to keep you mentally strong, and then go to the big spirit fighting arena to experience." Yu Xiaojing glared at Lu Baoan. "You, how did you know?" "I think the entire Soul Master world knows it." Lu Baoyan looked at Yu Xiaojing and said, "In addition to the valuable training resources of the Senior Soul Master Academy, the formal high-level Soul Master Academy has the best quality of the cafeteria. The delicious food, auxiliary training with the restricted soul skills possessed by the academy teachers, and the training in the great soul fighting arena with the reputation of the academy. With the delicious food in the college canteen and proper rest time, students will have enough energy to face every day's training. And the limited soul skills of the college teachers can make students more effective when exercising. Fighting going to the Great Spirit Fighting Arena to practice under the name of a certain academy will also bring many conveniences. Master, aren't your training methods of running with heavy weights, eating and drinking well, and experiencing the Great Soul Fighting Arena imitated from the regular high-level Soul Master Academy? Just like your theory, they're imitated from other people's research results." Hearing this, Yu Xiaojing's calm expression changed somewhat. "My theories are all carefully researched by me. Why do you say that I copied other people's research results?" Seeing Yu Xiaojing in embarrassment, Flanders hurriedly helped. "Boy, you don't need to question the Master's theory. Even the 3 education committee members know the 10 core theories of martial arts published by the Master. Do you think that the Master's theory of invincibility is empty? Does it have a name?" The Master did publish the 10 core theories of martial arts. But which theory did he personally summarize? Lu Bai suddenly remembered and said with a smile, "Oh yes. One of the theories was summed up by him personally. There are no useless martial spirits, only useless soul masters." This theory was indeed verified by the Master himself. When Yu Xiaojing wanted to refute, Lu Bao's 4th ring of 10,000 years appeared in his mind. Only he knows his own situation, and Yu Xiaojing knows that the more he talks, the more he will make mistakes, especially when others have evidence that breaks his theory. After a moment of silence, Yu Xiao concealed the change in her face, returned to the topic, and said calmly, "I don't want to argue with this junior. No matter you have doubts about my training methods, Or you still think that my theory cannot withstand scrutiny? The Shrek 7 Devils are here. It is an indisputable fact that my talent has greatly improved under my training. Just wait and see. Even without Tang San, Dai Mubai, and the others will eliminate the Imperial fighter team again. Yu Xiaojiang was naturally confident when he said this, because Dai Mubai, Zhu Zuqing, and the martial soul fusion skills had not been used, plus Ning Rongrong's auxiliary increase. Even his nephew Yu Tianheng could not do it. Win! But at this moment, the battle on the soul fighting stage ended. Yu Tianheng's Thunder Dragon Claw knocked Dai Mubai off the stage, and Oslo also defeated Zhu Zuqing. With Duga Yan's poisonous mist dividing the battlefield, there was no chance at all. Opportunity for Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuqing to use martial soul fusion skills. Yu Feng and Shi Mo persuaded Ning Rongrong to surrender. And in the end, the Imperial team won the team battle. Okay. It is indeed the pride of Tiando Royal Academy. None of you have let me down. Prince Xuexing's face was full of satisfaction. He looked at Flanders and said lightly, Dean Flanders, can I ask you to get out of Tiando Royal Academy now? Never mind. Flanders sighed secretly in his heart, slowly loosened his clenched fists, and his eyes hidden under the crystal glasses became calm again. He gave a slight salute to the 3 education committee members and said in a calm tone, I didn't expect that this time Shrek Academy Flanders is ashamed that he came here and brought such trouble to 3 seniors. Since Tiando Royal Academy doesn't want to keep us, how can we ask each other? 3 seniors, let's say goodbye. Flanders will come back someday. Visit. Dean Flanders. Meng Shinji shouted anxiously. Flanders did not turn around and led the Shrek people to stride outside. Master! Meng Shinji shouted again. Yu Xiaojiang did not turn around. With his hands behind his back, his face remained so calm. 3 members of the education committee. Sorry, I think I have to leave the academy too. It was Qin Ming who spoke. At this time, his face was full of grief and anger. The teacher was humiliated, but he did not have the strength to erase the humiliation. This was such a painful thing, but no matter what, he would not allow it. Stay by yourself. No matter how good the treatment here is, in Qin Ming's heart, it will never be as good as the starting point, Shrek Academy. Watching Shrek's teachers and students leave one by one, Meng Shinji's education committee was reluctant to leave, but had no choice. Why did Tiando Royal Academy belong to the Empire? And their 3 education committee members were from Wuhuan Palace. Prince Xuexing said calmly, The matter has come to this. It is useless to say more. If the 3 education committee members are willing to complain in front of His Majesty or the Crown Prince, I have nothing to say. I will take my leave. After saying that, Prince Xuexing walked outside with Xuebeng, but did not greet Dugabo. Dugabo had no intention of leaving in a hurry. Watching the young man named Tang San leave, a strange smile appeared on his face. Soul bones are rare in this world, let alone external soul bones. Moreover, it is an external soul bone that is extremely poisonous. As a poison Douluo with the title of poison, how can you not love it? Senior, I have finished refining the elixir of Earth Dragon Golden Melon. Let's go to the Ice and Fire Eyes later to try the effect. Lu Badai's voice made Dugabo's greed for the soul bone disappear instantly. Dugabo put his hands behind his back and praised Lu Bao. Good performance. This is my first time to watch your battle. It seems that Yin Yin is right. You are not only a support system in team battles, but also give full play to the role of a control soul master. Your talent is much better than that group of Shrek students. Thank you for the compliment, Senior. Let's go now. After solving your problem, I still have things to do. Lu Bewley thought. More than a month has passed. Qi and Rinxue should help find soul beasts like the Shadow Lord. That's right. After absorbing the 5th soul ring, he would seize the time to practice and strive to break through the Soul Emperor as soon as possible, and then try to obtain the body of the Ice and Fire Dragon King under the abyss of the Ice and Fire Eyes. Now it is the story of Shrek Academy in Tiando City, and there may be a collision with Tang San and Tang Hao at any time. We must improve our strength as soon as possible so that we don't have to worry about the threats from those strong men. Chapter 88 Plan to raise soul beasts in captivity, Sunset Forest. Eyes of Ice and Fire. After driving Shrek's people out of the Tiando Royal Academy, Dugabo, and Lu Haoli came to the spring of Binghuo Lianjian and prepared to let Douluo take the elixir to solve the problem of snake venom backlash. On the shore of the spring, Douluo looked at a snake-shaped soul beast entangled on the ground with countless shadows and confusion. Its body looks like a snake, but its head is very similar to that of a dragon. It has a dragon's head and a snake's body, and no claws under its belly. Its body is green, and its body is 5 meters long. Its whole body is covered in golden and green scales like shells. With just a cursory glance, Douluo could tell that this dragon-headed and snake-bodied soul beast was extraordinary. Its bloodline was probably far above the top grade, and it was already a super bloodline soul beast. However, the cultivation level of this soul beast was less than 1,000 years, and although its bloodline was strong, it was not strong enough, so it was unable to break free from Lu Haoli's shadow. Or maybe Lu Haoli gave some kind of poison to this super bloodline soul beast, which caused the soul beast to lose its resistance and fall into a coma. Boy, what kind of soul beast is this? Douluo asked curiously. There is such a high-grade snake soul beast in Sunset Forest. No, it looks like a dragon species. While talking, Douluo was also a little confused. Even the powerful, titled Douluo people had certain flaws in their understanding of soul beasts. Unless it was a soul beast that they had encountered, they didn't understand it very well. After all, the knowledge of the strong comes from accumulated experience. Unlike those group of theoretical masters who specialize in studying the knowledge of soul beasts, Lu Haoli explained Douluo's doubts. This soul beast was originally a high-grade poisonous soul beast called the emerald snake. During the process of refining the elixir, I forcibly fed it an earth dragon and a golden melon. The elixir allowed the emerald snake to evolve into the earth dragon bloodline and become what it is now. What did you say? Douluo's expression suddenly changed. Did you give its spirit beast the elixir of the earth dragon, golden melon? Senior, don't worry, Lu Haoli explained. I still have 3 elixirs refined from earth dragon, golden melon in my hand. High-quality elixirs can be used to refine up to 5 elixirs. I feed the elixirs to the emerald snake. Test whether the refined elixir has the desired effect and whether there are any side effects. Only after ensuring that there is no problem will I dare to let you and Yinzi take them. After hearing these words, Douluo suddenly realized that he, who often refines poisons, naturally understands this truth. The newly developed drugs must require mice for experiments. Looking at the golden-green soul beast with a dragon head and a snake body in front of him, Douluo thought to himself that soul beasts such as the emerald snake have many similarities with the jade phosphorus snake. If it can successfully undergo bloodline evolution after taking the elixir, then the jade snake or phosphorus snakes will work too. Did the test come out? Douluo asked. Does this elixir have any side effects? There are no side effects, Lu Haoli said truthfully. The emerald snake was originally a high-grade poisonous soul beast. After being transformed by the elixir, it obtained the blood of the earth dragon and has evolved into a super soul beast. Don't look at it now. It only has cultivation skills of less than 1,000 years. Because if you encounter a 10,000-year-old soul beast with a weak bloodline, you can definitely fight it. If you give it tens of thousands of years to grow, you might be able to cultivate to the level of a 100,000-year-old soul beast. Douluo laughed angrily. Boy, if you want to show the power of the elixir, you don't need to describe it in such an exaggerated way, right? I'm not exaggerating. I named this emerald snake that has evolved the blood of the earth dragon, the emerald dragon. Lu Haoli thought, the king of 10,000 demons, one of the 10 most ferocious beasts mentioned in the original work, is the result of taking. He obtained a certain kind of immortal grass to gain bloodline evolution, and finally cultivated into a ferocious beast. This emerald snake must have the potential to become a ferocious beast after eating the elixir of the earth dragon golden melon. Senior, since the elixir has no side effects, then take it quickly. Since it will change the bloodline of the jade phosphorus snake martial spirit, it will take some time to fully absorb the effects of the elixir. As he spoke, Lu Haoli took out a golden pill bead from the ring soul guide and handed it to Douluo. After receiving the elixir, Douluo was hesitant. It is not easy to cultivate to the realm of titled Douluo. If something unexpected happens while taking this elixir, causing the evolution of the martial soul's bloodline to fail. He will inevitably lose this level of cultivation. Since you are afraid that your own cultivation will be affected, why not just stop taking the elixir and use the method of forcing the snake venom into the soul bone? It just so happens that I have a Medusa skull that can be used as a venom sac to store the snake venom soaked in the body. Using this method to solve the problem of snake venom may only treat the symptoms but not the root cause, but at least it is safer. Douluo glanced at Lu Bao suspiciously, and Lu Bao smiled and nodded at him. Douluo would definitely be wary of Lu Bao, a guy who dared to steal his herbal medicine. How could he have 100% trust in him? But up to now, Lu Bao had never harmed himself. Instead, he kept the agreement he made a year ago and wasted a year on improving his poison skills. Now that he has returned from learning, he has wasted so much time on refining elixirs for himself to solve the problem of snake venom backlash. These actions can show Lu Bao's sincerity. Thinking of this, Douluo put aside all worries with firm eyes, stuffed the elixir into his mouth, carefully mobilized his soul power, and carefully swallowed the elixir. After closing his eyes and carefully feeling that the elixir did not have any negative effects on his body, Douluo sat cross-legged on the ground with confidence, closed his eyes and concentrated, and began to absorb the effects of the Earth Dragon and Golden Melon Elixir. The golden and dark green breath was released from Douluo's body. With the promotion of soul power, the elixir was gradually refined. The medicinal effect contained in it nourished Douluo's body, and at the same time, it merged with the jade phosphorus snake emperor martial spirit. After a long time, seeing that there was no abnormality in Douluo, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, Lu Bao secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The jade phosphorus snake emperor spirit was being transformed by the elixir. This process would take anywhere from 3 to 5 days. Lu Bao turned around and walked to the jade dragon, which was entangled on the ground by countless shadows. This was a soul beast with super bloodline. Naturally, Lu Bao would not waste it. He injected the ultimate ice energy into the body of the jade dragon, and the cold air kept freezing it into ice cubes. At this moment, the emerald dragon has not only turned into ice, but there is still a poison in its body that can make the living body weak, so there is no need to worry about the emerald dragon waking up or breaking through the ice blockade. Lu Bao took out the Rui Bao and put the emerald dragon that had completely turned into ice into it. When it had enough strength, he went to the Stardow Forest to release the emerald dragon and raise it in captivity to improve its cultivation. Fatten up before making plans. Either kill it and seal it in the Shadow Tomb realm, or leave it to Douluo Yin as a soul ring. Ever since he had the technology to refine fairy grass into elixir, Lu Bao had a bold idea. That is, after cultivating to the realm of tidal Douluo, you can start to use elixirs to create soul beasts with super bloodline. First, keep these super bloodline soul beasts in captivity, and then kill them when they reach a certain level of cultivation, and put them to shadows or sealed in the Shadow Tomb realm, allowing them to live in the dark world within the realm. In this way, there will be many candidates for the Black Shadow General, thus creating different types of Black Shadow Core. Not only that, if the dark world in the Shadow Tomb realm can be visualized in the future, or the enemy can be dragged into this dark world to fight, then the shadow of the super bloodline soul beast living in the dark world can fight alongside him. How to draw enemies into the dark world in the Shadow Tomb realm. A year ago, Lu Bao fought with a team called the Mirror Team. The Mirror Dragon Soul Master had spatial attributes that allowed him to travel freely in the mirror world and pull enemies into the mirror world to fight. Therefore, as long as you obtain a spatial attribute, you may be able to freely travel through the dark world in the Shadow Tomb realm, or you may be able to trap people inside. How to get spatial attributes. Chapter 89, If you don't believe me, try how to get spatial attributes? Lu Baoyang already had the answer in his mind. Among the currently known soul beasts, the dark demon evil god tiger with the blood of the evil god not only has the attributes of darkness and evil, but also has the attributes of time and space. If the shadow martial spirit is given a dark demon evil god tigers, a soul ring has spatial attributes. However, the dark demon evil god tiger is too powerful, and it will be extremely difficult to obtain its soul ring. Let's absorb the 5th soul ring first. When we get the 6th and 7th soul rings, we will then consider how to hunt the dark demon evil god tiger. While thinking about it, Lu Haoli looked at Douluo, who was still undergoing the transformation of the elixir, and thought to himself, Douluo should have maintained a meditating posture these days to absorb the effects of the elixir. Since he has the ice and fire eyes here, he is not afraid of it. Someone disturbed him. Moreover, after taking the red and white pill that condenses the energy of ice and fire, Douluo can stay near the ice and fire eyes for at least 5 days. After a few days, he can come to the ice and fire eyes to check on Douluo's condition. Now let's go back to Tiando Royal Academy and go to the Dean's building to see if Shui Qingyi, disguised as Qian Rinxue, is there, and also to ask if any soul beasts like the Shadow Lord have been found. After rushing back to Tiando Royal Academy, it was already noon the next day. Lu Haoli originally wanted to take a rest in his dormitory, but unexpectedly Shui Qingyi sent someone to find him, saying that he wanted to go to the Dean's building. Inside the Dean's building, on a dark corridor, Lu Haoli followed Shui Qingyi and kept walking along the corridor. Lu Haoli had been to this dark corridor before, and it led to the light-filled room. A year ago, in order to quickly improve his strength, Lu Haoli would sneak into the light-filled room every afternoon when he was practicing mimicry, and practice with the help of strong sunlight. Later, he discovered that the light-filled room belonged exclusively to Qian Rinxue, so he did not dare to set foot there again. Qian Rinxue, now disguised as Shui Qingyi, brought herself to the light-filled room. Did she want him to practice in the room with her? At the end of the corridor is a thick white wall without any doorways, as if entering a dead end. I saw Shui Qingyi put his hand on the wall, and the wall seemed to sense the injection of his soul power, and suddenly opened a door 1/2 meter wide and 2 meters high. Seeing the door appear on the wall in front of him, Lu Haoli suddenly realized that the material at a certain location on the wall was made of a material similar to a crystal ball for testing soul power, and it also had the function of identifying soul power. Only with Shui Qingyi's soul power injected into it can a door be opened in the thick wall. The craftsman who built this wall should be a blacksmith, right? The blacksmith who can build such a special room probably has the same forging skills as a divine craftsman. The Wuhuan Palace really has masters in all fields. Go in. After saying that, Shui Qingyi stepped through the door that appeared on the wall and walked into the light-filled room. After Lu Haoli followed him in, the wall where the door appeared sensed the passage of soul power, closed automatically, and the door disappeared. Is this an automatic door? Lu Haoli sighed inwardly. The door of this light-filled room was similar to the sensor door on Douluo Star, and the ceiling was similar to the double-sided mirror structure on Douluo Star. It seemed that the principles of some technologies in Douluo continent were similar to those of Douluo Star. It's a pity that I don't have the knowledge and manufacturing experience of modern weapons. Otherwise, Douluo continent will be able to enter the era of nuclear peace. At this moment, Shui Qingyi's body suddenly flashed with golden light. When the golden light faded, he was no longer dressed as a man, but turned back into Qian Rinxue. Lu Haoli, I heard what the 3 education committee members said. Qian Rinxue turned to face Lu Haoli and frowned. Your 4th soul ring is actually 10,000 years old. Lu Haoli nodded, and 1 soul ring after another slowly rose from his feet. Yellow, yellow, purple, black. Even Qian Rinxue, who was born in Wuhuan Palace, has seen countless soul master geniuses, but she has never seen anyone whose 4th soul ring is 10,000 years old. Even her own, and even her grandfather's 4th soul ring, was only 7,000 years old. Therefore, when she saw the 4th ring of 10,000 years flashing on Lu Haoli's body, Qian Rinxue couldn't help but show a hint of surprise on her cold face. How did you do it? Isn't that important? Lu Haoli took back his soul ring and said, What's important is that to you, the value I have shown is already higher than anyone else's. You are indeed valuable now. Since your 4th ring of 10,000 years was revealed in the academy, even Prince Snowstar has become interested in you. Qian Rinxue's face returned to its previous calmness, and she reminded, Lu Haoli, please don't do anything stupid. If you expose my secret to Prince Xuesheng, I will let the Aguda Douluo take the red poison elixir from your body. Detonate it, and you'll be finished by then. Don't worry, the benefits of joining the Spirit Hall are far greater than joining the Empire. I won't do anything stupid. Lu Haoli thought. When he uses the fairy grass blood swan kiss to refine a peerless poison, he will definitely let that Gorgon Douluo taste the feeling of being poisoned to death. After hearing Lu Bao's answer, Qian Rinxue was obviously satisfied and no longer worried about anything. Have you found the soul beast I want? Lu Bao asked. Found it, Qian Rinxue responded. However, soul beasts like the Shadow Lord are extremely rare. Even a place full of darkness and death, like Death Canyon, can only breed such a soul beast. Lu Baolon was immediately overjoyed. Where is the Shadow Lord now? It's still staying in Death Canyon. I didn't let anyone capture it. Qian Rinxue looked at Lu Baoli's eyes very seriously and said, because that soul beast has been cultivated for 50,000 years. You want to capture it. This is the 5th soul ring, and 50,000 years is too long for you. No, Lu Bao said, 50,000 years just meets my requirements. Are you crazy? Qian Rinxue frowned. Even if it is my seraphim martial spirit, the 5th soul ring attached to it is only 15,000 years, and the 6th soul ring is only 40,000 years. You 5th, you want to absorb a 50,000-year-old soul ring? Aren't you looking for death? You don't even have the experience to absorb a 10,000-year soul ring. At this point, Qian Rinxue's voice stopped suddenly, and then she remembered that although Lu Bao only had 4 soul rings, his 4th soul ring was 10,000 years old, and he had already had the experience of absorbing 10,000-year soul rings. Seeing Qian Rinxue's sudden silence, Lu Baohao smiled and said, my 4th soul ring happens to be 15,000 years. What about you? Qian Rinxue restrained herself, paused for a while, and then responded, mine is 7,000 years old. That's it, Lu Bao said. The quality of our soul rings is so different, so the physical strength is naturally very different. In terms of physical strength, I am better than any other soul master. If you don't believe it, you can try one time. Try? How do you want me to try? Qian Rinxue looked at Lu Bao's body from top to bottom with doubtful eyes. When she looked carefully, she realized that Lu Bao's figure had not changed much, but it gave people a sense of solidity. He looks very powerful. Is this the 4th ring of 10,000 years that has greatly improved his physical strength? Qian Rinxue hesitated, looking away from Lu Bao. She didn't want to test how strong the man was. No matter how strong your body is, absorbing the 5th soul ring for 50,000 years is still too reluctant. You have to know that the quality of the soul ring produced by the soul beast is related to the soul beast's own strength and bloodline. Qian Rinxue reminded. What kind of soul beast is the Shadow Lord? Not to mention the powerful bloodline, he also has dark and evil attributes. If you want to fight against the resentment generated by the evil soul beast, without strong mental power to support it, you are asking for death. Road. Lu Haoli, listen to me. Wait until you get the 6th soul ring before hunting that 50,000-year-old Shadow Lord. No, Lu Haoli said very resolutely. I will choose this as my 5th soul ring. Why did I join the Spirit Hall to obey your orders? What I want is to get the soul ring I want. If you can't even satisfy me with this, what else can you satisfy me in the future? Following you, I might as well go find those titled Douluo in Wuhuan Palace who are willing to help me hunt soul beasts. Well, I'll ask someone to help you bring back the Shadow Lord who is cultivated for 50,000 years. Qian Rinxue no longer objected and said calmly, 10 days later, I will take you to Shui Qingyi as absorbed soul rings in a place with few people. When the time comes, if you die due to overstepping your level and absorbing soul rings, I won't bother to bury you. Chapter 90 Golden Phosphorus Emperor Snake. I will absorb it successfully. Lu Baobai originally had the Ice and Fire Immortal Grass to improve his qualifications, and the strange Velvet and Heavenly Chrysanthemum Immortal Pill to make him indestructible. He also had the hope of wearing Autumn Water to greatly enhance his mental strength. Such conditions can completely absorb a 50,000-year-old soul ring. Qian Rinxue didn't know the existence of fairy grass, so she couldn't imagine how strong Lu Haoli's physical endurance and mental strength were. After the negotiation was completed, Qian Rinxue sat cross-legged and practiced under the sunlight enhanced by the transparent ceiling. While feeling the strong light, Qian Rinxue said. This room is a mimicry training environment containing extremely strong light energy. Your shadow spirit has dark attributes, but it is still a shadow after all, and it should also be affected by light. The influence of energy, right? You can practice here like me. Forget it for today. I'll come to this room to practice some other time. Lu Bao smiled. It's noon now. I'll go back to the dormitory to take a rest. As you wish. After answering, Qian Rinxue closed her eyes and concentrated on her cultivation. 3 days later, Eyes of Ice and Fire. Sure. After taking the elixir of Earth Dragon and Golden Melon, Douluo has maintained a meditating posture for 3 days. The aura of gold and dark green was still floating around his body, and the golden-green color and hazy water mist blended together to form a strange color, as beautiful as the aurora. At this time, Douluo suddenly opened his eyes, and his huge spiritual power was actively released outwards. In just one thought, he could feel the fluctuations of soul power in a radius of several kilometers. Douluo, who has the skull of Medusa, was already mentally stronger than other titled Douluo. After being transformed by the Earth Dragon Golden Melon Elixir, his mental power became even better. Not only that, all the attributes of his body have been greatly improved. Sitting quietly on the ground, Douluo can even sense the aura of the soul beast that sneaks into the ground hundreds of meters deep through the earth. It was a feeling he had never felt before. The elixir refined from the Earth Dragon and Golden Melon can enhance the user's ability to control the earth. Douluo thought that he could sense what was happening underground through extremely weak vibrations on the ground, which might be related to the transformation of the body by the Earth Dragon Golden Melon Elixir. After 3 days of refining, the swallowed elixir was finally completely integrated with the body. So physical attributes such as mental strength, physical strength, and defense were greatly strengthened. What surprised Douluo the most was that there were no signs of poisoning on his neck, chest, and ribs, as well as other areas that were often itchy. These feelings of lightness and joy all over the body are like taking the red and white pill beads condensed by Lu Bao with ice and fire energy, and the backlash of the snake venom has been suppressed. No. Douluo was extremely excited. It was not that the snake venom backlash had been suppressed, but that the flaw of the snake venom backlash had completely disappeared. After the Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor martial spirit merged with the Earth Dragon bloodline that came with the Earth Dragon Golden Melon Elixir, it evolved into a brand new martial spirit. Golden Phosphorus Emperor Snake. This is the name of the evolved martial spirit of the Phosphorus Emperor Snake. The transformation of Douluo by the Earth Dragon Golden Melon Elixir is definitely not just a change of the martial soul's name. After acquiring the blood of the Earth Dragon, the Golden Phosphorus Emperor Snake became a martial spirit with dual attributes of poison and earth. Not only did all its soul skills retain the previous poisonous mist attack methods, but they could also act on the ground or even underground, transforming a certain area. A terrifying poisonous swamp. Take the third soul skill, Jade Phosphorus Purple Poison, as an example. The third soul skill that originally could only mix green phosphorus snake venom into the air to form a poisonous mist attack can now use the properties of earth to mix green phosphorus snake venom into the earth, turning a large area into a poisonous ocean. Douluo's current soul skill can even control the power of the earth, summoning rocks to turn into poisonous dragons to attack or entangle enemies. After carefully comprehending the various information obtained after the martial soul evolved, Douluo's inner excitement was already reflected on his face. His deep blue eyes trembled slightly, with faint twinkles of tears. The snake venom that had soaked him for decades was finally resolved. Not only him, but his granddaughter no longer has to bear this pain. At this time, Douluo, who had never believed in heaven, frequently thought silently in his heart that God had opened his eyes, that the ancestors of the Jade Phosphorus Snake had opened their eyes, that the snake venom problem had been solved, and that he and his granddaughter no longer had to worry about dying from snake venom backlash. The Jade Phosphorus Snake clan no longer needs to be exterminated. Douluo's inner gratitude cannot be expressed in words. If he were still the emotional young man 50 or 60 years ago, at this time he would definitely be moved to tears because of the suddenness of this surprise. Senior, it looks like you have finished absorbing it. How is it? Did the elixir from Earth Dragon Jinghua evolve your Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor Martial Soul bloodline? Hearing Lu Haoli's voice coming from the hazy mist, Douluo quickly suppressed the excitement in his heart, wiped the light spots in his eyes. All the excitement on his face disappeared. His face was calm, and he said calmly, "Not bad." Just like that. As you said, this sweet potato golden dragon not only changed my Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor Martial Spirit, but also helped me solve the problem of snake venom backlashing on me. The immortal product is truly amazing. Sweet Potato Golden Dragon. I remember this name. Lu Haoli walked up to Douluo and said with a smile, "Senior, that immortal product is called Earth Dragon Golden Melon. I can't even remember the name. Is there any side effects that will make your head go crazy?" Douluo chuckled a few times, stood up, put his hands behind his back, and said, "Boy, I have never said a word of thanks in my life, so I will remember this kindness first. Although my poison cannot kill you, it is still very easy to poison other soul masters below the title level. If you encounter any trouble in the future, just come to me and I will solve it for you." Okay. Lu Haoli bowed slightly to Douluo and said, "Senior, our deal is completed. When the herbs grow again in this land, I will come back to make a deal with you. In the future, you can come here at any time with the two eyes of ice and fire. When the herbs grow again in this land, you don't have to come and steal them anymore. You can just take them away. Boy, I have something to do, so I'll excuse you now." The sound faded far away, and Douluo's figure completely disappeared from sight. Lu Liang didn't know what else Douluo had to do, and he didn't care. The most important thing now was to use the blazing Yanshuan of the ice and fire eyes to refine the medicine. Use various immortal grasses and genius treasures to refine elixirs in order to realize the soul beast captive breeding plan and create a black shadow army full of super bloodline soul beasts. Night. Tino City, Lamba Academy. After leaving the Eye of Ice and Fire, Douluo came to a dark corner dozens of meters away from Lamba Academy. He was waiting for a young man named Tang San to walk out of the academy. Ever since he last saw Tang San using the poisonous spider leg soul bones at Tiando Royal Academy, Douluo had never forgotten this. He told Lu Haoli that he had something to do, which was to capture this young man named Tang San, kill him in a deserted place, and then take away the poison that was the envy of all poisoned soul masters. Attached soul bone. Chapter 91. Tang San was caught Tiando City. After everyone in Shrek was kicked out of Tiando Royal Academy by Prince Xuesheng, they decided to rebuild Shrek Academy again. But right now, we need to find a place to stay. Arriving in Tiando City, Shrek and the others discovered that a high-level Soul Master Academy was recruiting teachers. According to Qin Ming's introduction, the academy was called Lambo Academy. The academy's purpose of recruiting students was to only accept civilians, not nobles. Flender liked the purpose of Lambo Academy very much, and after everyone discussed it, they decided to settle down at Lambo Academy first. Unexpectedly, the dean of Lambo Academy was actually Lu Erlong, a former friend of Flanders and Yu Xiaojing, who was also one of the Golden Triangle and the Horn of Killing. After that, Lu Erlong handed over the management of Lambo Academy to his eldest brother Flender and changed the name of the academy to Shrek Academy. Because of this, everyone in Shrek found a place to stay. Flanders, Yu Xiaojing, and Lu Erlong reunited as the Golden Triangle, and Shrek Academy was successfully rebuilt. Tang San, who was hiding in the dark, couldn't help but smile on his face when he saw his teacher, Yu Xiaojing, reconciled with Aunt Lu Erlong. In his previous life, he lived in the Tang sect, accompanied by endless killings. Now he had friends, relatives, and a troublemaking sister. Tang San was very satisfied with the experience of this life and enjoyed the friendship of his partners. Xiao Wu is his partner and even his sister. What is her status in his heart? After meeting Xiao Wu, Tang San thought about this issue deep in his heart for the first time. At this moment, Douluo, who was also hiding in the darkness, took Tang San away without anyone noticing and disappeared without a trace. Yu Xiaojing and Lu Erlong, who had reconciled, noticed the movement in the dark and instantly recovered from the warmth. Flanders, who was hiding in the dark and peeking at the two, also noticed something was wrong. Yu Xiaojing was stunned for a moment. Then his face changed drastically, No, maybe something happened to the mistress. Go and have a look. Lu Erlong quickly arrived at the place where the commotion occurred, but apart from the coldness in the air, they could not find any clues. They mobilized their soul power to search with all their strength, but they could no longer find Tang San's aura. The master ran over and saw that Lu Erlong had found nothing, so he said decisively, "Let's go back and find Flanders first." This cold breath is familiar. When he was fighting with the Huangdo team in Tiando Royal Academy, Shaoxin was there. The external soul bone was exposed in front of everyone, and I am afraid that it has attracted the attention of people with evil intentions. Sunset Forest. In a cave in the jade phosphorus snake venom array, a young man who looked to be only 13 or 14 years old, dressed in a blue suit, was lying unconscious in a dark cave. When the young man woke up, he found that the surroundings were completely dark, with only 2 green lights shining eerily in the darkness. The soul power in the young man's body gradually condensed, and the strength returned to his body, but he did not move. His mentor taught him that the more dangerous the situation, the more he should stay calm and never fall into crisis because of his rash actions. You don't have to pretend when you wake up. Are you really only 13 or 14 years old? Why do you think like a veteran? The old man talking to the young man was Douluo, who was planning to steal Tang San's soulbone. The young man turned over and sat up, without speaking. He just looked at Douluo coldly, his heart already feeling cold. "Boy, your name is Tang San?" Douluo leaned on the stone wall behind him and asked calmly. "Not bad." The young man's answer was simple. He thought to himself that the reason why Douluo caught him in this dark cave was probably because he was interested in his poisonous 8 spider soul bone. If it fell into the hands of poisoned Douluo, he would be in danger. The green light in Douluo's eyes flashed coldly. "My granddaughter told me that you broke her green phosphorus snake poison and restrained her with the poison attached to the soul bone. I'm curious how you resolved it." "Her snake venom?" Tang San said calmly. "Thanks for being an old monster like you. You are still known as the poisoned Douluo. Don't you even understand the principle of how realgar can defeat snake venom? Realgar paired with strong wine can fully bring out the special properties of realgar, plus the burning power of flames. Burn. Although your granddaughter's poison is overbearing, it is not impossible to resolve." Douluo stared at Tang San coldly and said in a cold voice, "You question my granddaughter's poison. You are questioning my poison. Aren't you afraid of death?" Tang San snorted disdainfully. "Your granddaughter's poison is rubbish. Your poison is just rubbish." "What did you say?" Douluo's eyes were full of murderous intent. He raised his hand slightly, and Tang San's body was thrown out by an irresistible force, hitting the wall behind him heavily. The severe pain almost made him almost passed out again. "Boy, are you tired of living?" Douluo said coldly. "Originally, I thought it was a bit embarrassing to steal the soul bone of a younger generation, but you are seeking your own death and dare to question my poison." Douluo. Tang San struggled to get up, holding back the severe pain in his body and straightening his back. "Anyway, if you peek at my external soul bone, I won't be able to survive. So what if I question you? Your poison is indeed very powerful, but it's still rubbish. The poison technique is to poison the enemy, but you've even poisoned yourself. Isn't your poison still rubbish?" Hearing this, Douluo was stunned and looked at Tang San coldly, thinking, only Lu Bao knew about this secret. How did Tang San know about it? Could it be that as early as a year ago, Lu Hao had exposed the secret of his poisonous body? No. Douluo immediately denied this suspicion. Now his Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor martial spirit has evolved into the Golden Scale Jade Snake Emperor, gaining the dual attributes of poison and earth. His strength has greatly increased, and the snake venom has disappeared. Aren't these all due to taking the elixir developed by Lu Bao? Since Lu Bao had helped him, how could he secretly frame him? What's more, when he was at Tiando Royal Academy, Lu Bao attacked Tang San without any mercy. They didn't look like friends, and there was even more hostility between the lines in his words. Since he was an enemy, how could Lu Hao tell Tang San the secret of the deadly poison in his body? Picture what? What are you planning? Thinking of this, the doubts in Douluo's heart have been eliminated, and he said indifferently, "What a joke. Will my poison me? I am 78 years old. I have never been the only one to poison others, and no one has ever poisoned me." When? Tang San snorted disdainfully. "Is that really the case? Then let me ask you, every time it's cloudy and rainy, do you get a numb and itchy feeling on your ribs, which will gradually get stronger? Late at night, about around midnight, you will experience pinprick-like tingling sensations on the top of your head and in your heart. The whole body convulsed for at least half an hour. I don't need to describe the excruciating process. If it wasn't poisoning, how could you have such symptoms? Not only have you been poisoned, but the poison has also penetrated into the bone marrow. It's strange why you're not dead yet. The poison you've been poisoned by can't be suppressed by soul power at all." Douluo's hands on his back twitched subconsciously, and he stared at Tang San with a gloomy expression. Although the snake venom backlash had disappeared after taking the Earth Dragon Golden Melon Elixir, before the snake venom backlash was solved, the parts of the body that were hit by the snake venom still showed some signs of poisoning. If Lu Bao hadn't told Tang San the secret, Tang San could see at a glance the backlash of snake venom he had endured for many years through these signs of poisoning. That's not an easy thing to do. At the thought of someone being able to see through his secret, Douluo suddenly felt murderous intent in his heart. A burst of energy suddenly erupted, and the materialized energy impact directly hit Tang San. Tang San took 3 steps back before barely regaining his balance. The blue-silver grass was suddenly released under the pressure of Douluo's murderous intent, and even his attached soul bone 8 spider spears stretched directly from behind, releasing its fierce aura to protect Tang San's body. "Huh!" Douluo flashed and came to Tang San, raising his hand to grab Tang San. "Let me see what's unique about this rare external soul bone." The first soul ring on Tang San's body suddenly shone, and the first soul skill, blue-silver coil. Under Tang San's full strength, the tough blue-silver grass frantically wrapped around Douluo, wrapping his body tightly almost instantly. But a strange scene occurred. The blue-silver grass had just wrapped around Douluo's body, but it melted and disintegrated like ice and snow. The next moment, Douluo's big hands had already grabbed Tang San's neck and lifted him high. This feeling of being strangled around the neck reminded Tang San of the battle with Lu Bao, where his own shadow came to life and attacked him, wrapping and suffocating him. Anyone who has experienced this will definitely be left with a shadow, feeling fearful and uneasy about their own shadow. Douluo's hand grabbed Tang San's neck harder and harder. Tang San was once again trapped in a suffocation feeling that was infinitely close to death. Thinking of his 8 spider spear piercing Lu Bao's body and bursting into pieces, he was so proud of it. The poison of the Tang sect could not poison Lu Bao, and his own shadow almost killed him. Thinking of all this, Tang San was originally afraid of being suppressed by Douluo's soul power. But now that Douluo had severely strangled his neck, he felt an extremely strong sense of fear and panic in his heart. However, Tang San was not defeated by fear and used all his strength to control the 8 spider spears behind him to thrust out at the same time, stabbing wildly with a sharp sound of breaking through the air. But it was unable to penetrate Douluo's soul power wall protection. Looking at the 8 spider legs that were stabbing him crazily, Douluo was a little surprised. The tip of Tang San's external soul bone spear should have been shattered. In just a few days, it was restored to its original state. Chapter 92 Tang Hao is here. Douluo stared at the 8 spider legs that kept stabbing him, feeling confused. He remembered that when Tang San used these 8 spider legs to stab Lu Bao, the spear tips of these spider legs were knocked off because Lu Bao's body was too strong. It was shattered. Now it's intact as before? It seems that these 8 spider legs have repaired themselves. The externally attached soul bone is indeed different from other soul bones. Not only can it grow with the growth of the soul master, it also has the function of repairing itself. Such a rapid repair effect is enough to prove that the external soul bone is completely integrated with the body. The unfused externally attached soul bone can be used to kill people and obtain bones. However, after it is completely fused with a soul master, the externally attached soul bone is equivalent to a part of the soul master's body and can no longer be used by other soul masters. Even if it is taken out, it will not be useful to other soul masters. To other soul masters, It is just an ordinary bone. Thinking of this, Douluo felt regretful, shook his head and sighed. It's a pity, it's such a pity. This external soul bone has been completely integrated with your body and cannot be taken out. Otherwise, you would have given me a big gift. Tang San broke away from Douluo's hand, fell to the ground, and said in the same regretful tone, What a pity, what a pity. I didn't expect that I would die in the hands of an old monster who uses garbage poison. Seeing the unwilling light in Tang San's eyes, Douluo couldn't help but sneered. Aren't you willing? Maybe, given you a few decades, you can really surpass me with your talent. But now you have no chance. Didn't you say that my poison is rubbish? But you still want to die in my hands. Tang San said calmly, This is my biggest unwillingness. If you give me time, even if I don't use my martial spirit, I can still put you to death. Your rubbish poison skills are simply shit. Not only is it even possible if you practice on your own, you're no longer a human being, and you are no longer a ghost. You will also bring disaster to future generations. You are rubbish among rubbish. Oh, Douluo was a little surprised. Listening to what you said, do you think you can detoxify me? Tang San smiled faintly. I won't give it to you if you can. You will only die worse than me. Kill me. You may not be afraid of death anymore, but your flowery granddaughter may not be as afraid of you. Such perseverance to endure the increasing pain. Your granddaughter cannot escape the backlash of the snake venom, so she can only live like you, a life worse than death. Hearing this, Douluo was not afraid to laugh back, with a hint of pride on his cold face. If Lu Bao hadn't helped him completely solve the problem of snake venom backlash, he would have been led away by Tang San. Why are you laughing? Tang San felt that Douluo was showing off, but in fact his words had completely hit Douluo's heart. It's a pity, it's such a pity. Douluo put away the smile on his face and said coldly, So what if you know my secret? The flaw in my martial soul has been solved long ago. My descendants will not have any more the pain of snake venom backlash you mentioned. In addition, I will no longer be tortured by snake venom, because my snake venom backlash has been resolved long ago. What did you say? Tang San was completely stunned, staring at Douluo in disbelief. After a moment of silence, he said, Old poisoner, don't be so harsh. With your garbage poison skills, it is impossible to undo the backlash of snake venom. Douluo exposed Tang San's intention and said, You think that the external soul bone has been completely integrated with your body, and it is useless for me to snatch it away, so you think you have a chance to live. So you told me about the problem of snake venom backlash. Makes me think you have the antidote. I won't kill you? Can you survive from my hands? What a pity. Tang San, even if I am the weakest titled Douluo, I am not weak enough to suffer a blow from you. The boy's threat. After saying that, the golden and green aura suddenly erupted, once again flying Tang San dozens of meters away, and hit the rock wall hard before falling down. Tang San vomited blood and lay on the ground in a panic. In order to survive, I thought that speaking out about the snake venom problem would gain a chance. Unexpectedly, this last move had no effect on Douluo. Now that Douluo is not interested in his own detoxification method, doesn't it mean that he is going to die? However, I am very curious. What method are you going to use to detoxify my snake? If your method is refreshing to me, I may not kill you. Douluo thought to himself, besides Lu Bao, is there anyone who could detoxify snake venom? Why couldn't Douluo find any way before? Is it true that my skills are inferior to others? Hearing that Douluo was suddenly interested in his detoxification method, the corners of Tang San's mouth raised slightly. The fear in his heart lessened a bit, and he thought to himself, old poison, you are still threatened by me after all. Douluo asked himself about the antidote, which would prove that he was still alive. Thinking of this, Tang San's ugly expression improved a little. He staggered to his feet and said calmly, You won't kill me? Why should I believe you? If you want to kill me, it's just a matter of a snap. People like you don't repay kindness with hatred. Nothing new. If I tell you the antidote, you will still kill me, right? Seeing that Tang San had taken advantage of him and acted like a good boy and still questioned his character and credibility, Douluo suddenly became angry. His body couldn't help but move, and his strong energy burst out again. Tang San was knocked back several meters, smashed against the wall, and fell to the ground, vomiting blood. Douluo said coldly, Tang San, if you want to survive, don't pretend to be in front of me. Do you think I can't see through you? In fact, you really want to agree to me quickly so that you can get a chance to survive. In front of a strong man pretending to be indifferent is just a leftover trick from my youth. If you continue to be so hypocritical, I will kill you regardless of threats. Do you really think I need you to detoxify me? I'm warning you. You will answer whatever I ask you. If you say one more nonsense, I will kill you. Even though Tang San looked only 13 or 14 years old on the surface, he actually had the mind of a middle-aged man. But even so, after listening to Douluo's words, he was like a child listening to a thunderbolt. His bones were about to fall apart, and the clothes on his back were all soaked. Each word of Douluo's strong soul power and cold murderous intent were like lightning falling from the sky, frightening Tang San to the point of trembling with fear. The fear he had never felt before was as if it was tearing apart his bones and flesh. Own heart. Anyone would be afraid of death, and Tang San was no exception. Especially since death has no value, it is even more undesirable for him. Tang San didn't dare to pretend any longer, and immediately seized this chance to survive. Okay, I'll tell you my antidote. But it's useless even if I tell you, right? Only I can prepare the antidote. Do you want to detoxify the snake? I must personally prepare the antidote for you. Douluo withdrew his released soul power and said indifferently, I don't need the antidote you provided, nor do I need you to detoxify me. You just need to tell me your detoxification ideas. Tang San was stunned. Although Tang sect is famous for its poison, it is impossible to prepare an antidote based on just rough signs of poisoning. No matter what kind of poison, if you want to detoxify it, you must find the source of the poison, treat the poison from the root, and then prepare the corresponding antidote according to the characteristics of the toxin. Tang San knew that what Douluo was suffering from was his own snake venom backlash, and he was certain that he could undo the snake venom's backlash, but he had not yet found a way to detoxify it. Now that Douluo was asking for the antidote, it was really difficult for Tang San. Fortunately, Tang San was very witty and immediately replied, Soulbone, the reason your snake venom spreads in your body is because there is nothing to store the snake venom. If you find a soul bone and force the snake venom into it, the poison will soak into your body. Wouldn't the snake venom be reduced? In this way, the backlash of the snake venom on you will be reduced. This is my idea of detoxification. After listening to Tang San's detoxification ideas, Douluo smiled coldly. He originally thought that Tang San had any better detoxification method, but it turned out to be what Lu Bao had said, which was to use soul bones instead of poison sacs to store snake venom. That's it. Douluo snorted coldly. I can think of your way to detoxify. Do I still need you to help me detoxify? You! Tang San's heart trembled, feeling that he had been cheated, so he pretended to be indifferent and said, Then can you let me go? No. I am not satisfied with your antidote. You will die here today. Douluo was determined to kill. He stretched out his palm and pushed forward, and a materialized energy impact directly hit Tang San. Seeing the physical impact coming towards him again, Tang San endured the injuries he had suffered before and reluctantly got up from the ground. He had not learned all the Tang sect secret skills, and he had never created any Tang sect drama in this world. Poison. He was unwilling to accept that he had finally made friends and experienced the wonders of the outside world in this life. But now he was about to die. He didn't even have a chance to cultivate his second martial soul. The second martial spirit? Tang San's unwilling gaze gradually became firmer. Rather than sit back and wait for death, it would be better to fight to the death. Since there is no way to survive, then turn death into a way out. The second martial spirit was suddenly released, and the heavy hammer spirit appeared, causing the surrounding air to suddenly sink. When his life was hanging on the line, Tang San swung the huge clear sky hammer towards the flying materialized energy impact. The collision between the hammerhead and the energy impact was very fierce. Boom, 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 boom. A loud bang exploded in the cave, shaking the air, and the thick energy impact was instantly shattered by the clear sky hammer. Douluo couldn't help but be secretly surprised, staring blankly at the huge hammer in Tang San's hand. Could it crush the impact of the titled Douluo's condensed soul power? Is this the ultimate weapon made by a blacksmith? No. That's Wu. Seeing Tang San being stunned by the energy released by him, and his hammer spirit falling to the ground, Douluo's eyes gradually became dull, and there was no way he would admit his mistake even if he was beaten to death. The hammer spirit released by Tang San is definitely the best weapon spirit in the world. Haotian hammer? Tang San? That person's surname is Tang too. Thinking of this, Douluo's heart suddenly tightened. How could he have thought that Tang San was actually a twin martial spirit, with the blood of the Haotian sect flowing through his body? Suddenly, an extremely heavy aura enveloped the entire cave. This aura made even Douluo, a titled Douluo, feel a little afraid. The icy, murderous aura spread, sweeping in like a violent wind. Thunder rumbled, and the heaven and earth suddenly changed. Even the rock wall of the cave was frozen with a thick layer of ice by the cold, murderous intent. The cold wind blew from the entrance of the cave, making Douluo's hair stand on end and his whole body trembled. In panic, Douluo saw a figure wearing a black robe walking into the cave entrance. The figure approached him step by step, and a murderous voice sounded. "Douluo, I haven't seen you for many days. You are getting bolder and bolder. You have hurt my son so much, then you should be prepared to die." The terrifying aura was like falling from the sky. Looking at the figure walking towards him, Douluo found one soul ring after another slowly falling from the top of the figure's head. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 red. 9 rings, titled Douluo. Douluo finally confirmed his suspicion. This boy named Tang San was actually that person's son. That red 100,000-year-old soul ring that makes all titled Douluo envious and timid is probably only possessed by Haotian Douluo, who can fight against many strong men in the spirit hall alone. Tang Hao. Chapter 93 Poison Douluo vs. Haotian Douluo Part 1. Tang Hao. Douluo's cold eyes stared at the figure coming from the cave entrance. It was a figure covered in black clothes, even with a black hood on his head. From the appearance, it could only be seen that he was a tall man. Tang Hao, it is indeed you. Douluo had already released his 9 soul rings at this time, and then the fear in his heart was eliminated. Tang Hao did not directly answer Douluo's words, but said lightly, "Douluo, I originally thought you would not be so cruel to a junior, but it seems that I have underestimated your viciousness. Since you want to kill someone, then come and try to kill me." As he spoke, Tang Hao slowly raised his right hand. Suddenly, a black light condensed in his palm and turned into a huge clear sky hammer. At the same time, 2 yellow, 2 purple for black, and 1 red. The 9 spirit rings were no longer violent, but quietly stagnated at Tang Hao's feet, releasing the unique ferocious aura of each spirit ring. Seeing the 100,000-year-old soul ring on Tang Hao, Douluo felt as if cold water splashed on his face and shivered all over his body. The gap between titled Douluo and titled Douluo is not only affected by soul power and martial soul, but also by the quality of soul rings. The better the quality of the soul ring, the more domineering the aura of the titled Douluo, and the more powerful the soul skills he possesses. Why do titled Douluo desire a 100,000-year soul ring? It is precisely because the changes brought by a 100,000-year soul ring to titled Douluo are extremely huge. A titled Douluo with a 100,000-year soul ring, even if there is a soul power gap of 1 or 2 levels with his opponent who is also a titled Douluo, you can still completely abuse your opponent. This is the momentum and power advantage brought by a 100,000-year soul ring. At this moment, what Douluo endured was not only Tang Hao's suppression from the god of death domain, but also Tang Hao's 100,000-year soul ring that was glowing red. Seeing Tang Hao approaching him with the clear sky hammer, Douluo's hands on his back could not help but tremble a little. However, even the weakest titled Douluo has his own pride. He beat Tang Hao's son and was found by Tang Hao. If you come to the door and are cowardly enough to bow your head to Tang Hao and admit your mistake, then you might as well just die. Douluo cherishes his hard-won cultivation, and at the same time, he cherishes something called backbone. Apart from his granddaughter, Douluo was most attracted by his proud appearance. Therefore, Facing Tang Hao's murderous intention, Douluo was afraid in his heart, but his eyes showed some firmness and determination. Today, either the weakest titled Douluo will poison the strongest titled Douluo to death, or he will be hammered to death. The moment he learned Tang San's identity, Douluo had already made the decision to fight Tang Hao. There had never been a coward in the Jade Phosphorus Snake clan. Looking at the determination in Douluo's eyes, although Tang Hao had the blessing of the god of killing domain and completely suppressed Douluo in terms of momentum, he was still a little worried in his heart. In the battle with Wuhuan Palace many years ago, Tang Hao's reputation spread throughout the continent. With his strong strength, he successfully escaped from the many titled Douluo in Wuhuan Palace. But after that battle, Tang Hao was seriously injured. Even if he sought the help of a titled Douluo-level healing soul master, he could not completely heal the hidden injuries. Now that he came with hidden wounds, Tang Hao didn't want to fight Douluo. He delayed coming out to protect Tang San and prayed that Douluo wouldn't kill Tang San. It was precisely because he had hidden wounds that he didn't want to confront Douluo conflict. Therefore, even though Tang Hao looked calm and full of murderous intent, he was actually a little panicked inside. Even if the titled Douluo in front of him was Chrysanthemum Douluo or Ghost Douluo, Tang Hao would not be worried at all, but Poison Douluo was different. I have a secret wound, and if I accidentally let the secret wound be infected with Poison Douluo's poison, the secret wound will be affected by the toxin and become worse. At that time, when the secret wound strikes, Poison Douluo will accidentally discover this secret. Put yourself in all sorts of dangers. 5 meters away in front of Douluo, Tang Hao's face was still as indifferent as before. His eyes flashed red from time to time, and the murderous aura was staring into Douluo's eyes. Being forced by the murderous intent in Tang Hao's eyes, Douluo's mind was a little confused. He knew that Tang Hao had a trick called the Killing God Domain. At this moment, he was trapped in the realm of the God of Death, coupled with the aura suppressed by the 100,000-year soul ring. So his momentum plummeted, and he didn't even want to look at Tang Hao one more time. However, Douluo had not yet become cowardly to this point. He clenched his fists with his hands behind his back, and the pain caused by his nails digging into his palms made Douluo keep his mind clear and a certain momentum. He looked squarely at Tang Hao and said indifferently, "In terms of seniority, I'm still older than you. Tang Hao, do you really think I'm easy to scare?" Tang Hao snorted coldly. Respect in this world has never been based on seniority, but on strength. In front of the strong, the weak only have the fate of being bullied. If you bully my son, don't you allow me to bully you? If you want to bully me, it depends on whether you have the ability. Tang Hao, if you think that my strength is still the same as before without any improvement, you will die miserably. As he spoke, Douluo released his martial spirit. The 9 spinning spirit rings under his feet shone with dazzling light. The Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor's martial spirit did not appear, and only the land with a radius of several thousand meters was shaking. Tang Hao kept his feet on the ground, but his body became slightly unbalanced as the earth shook. At this moment, an extremely weird dragon roar sounded, followed by the ground behind Douluo suddenly exploded, and a golden-green creature with a body length of dozens of meters was wrapped in a layer of gold. A dragon-headed, snake-body monster with green scales soared into the sky. The roar of the dragon carries the power of a dragon and the coldness of a snake. The stinging sound echoes endlessly in the cave, shaking the surrounding air and sending wind and sand flying. The golden-green monster that was tens of meters long drove, its huge snake body. Its head like a dragon's head stood upright, and its small scarlet eyes stared directly at Tang Hao. At this moment, Tang Hao seemed to be petrified. His feet were absorbed by the earth, and his body felt frozen. Looking at the huge dragon-headed snake-body monster standing above Douluo's head, Tang Hao's first reaction was that the monster was the Jade Phosphorus Snake King. But his appearance changed greatly. The snake's head grew dragon whiskers and horns, except for its belly. Except for the lack of dragon claws, this monster's whole body looks like a golden and green dragon. It releases wind and sand, causing a sandstorm to appear in the cave. The sandstorm also contains poison that accelerates corrosion. Tang Hao couldn't help but be shocked. When did Douluo Bo's martial soul become like this? Even the soul power seemed to have improved a lot. Looking at Tang Hao's slightly startled eyes, Douluo Bo smiled. Tang Hao, you didn't expect it, did you? Not only have I reached the 93rd level of soul power, but the Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor spirit has also evolved. Today, not only will I beat your son, I'll beat you too. After hearing this, Tang Hao's plain face showed a hint of solemnity. How could he have thought that Douluo Bo was already a titled Douluo, and his martial soul could still evolve? Many years ago, Tang Hao defeated the 90-level Douluo Bo with a strength of more than 80 levels, but now, Tang Hao did not have much confidence to beat the Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor spirit in front of him, which had evolved into the form of a dragon and snake. A highly toxic sandstorm. Tang Hao had so much combat experience that he could guess that Douluo Bo's Jade Phosphorus Snake King had the attribute of Earth in addition to the poison attribute, just by relying on the sandstorms and poisons rising around him. From the golden-green dragon-headed snake body monster, Tang Hao could see that the golden-green scales covering the snake's body had extremely high defense. Since it was an Earth attribute, its toughness could not be underestimated. With his current physical condition and strength, it would be extremely difficult to break through the current Jade Phosphorus Snake King's defense without using an explosive ring. Thinking of this, all the surprise in Tang Hao's eyes disappeared, and the god of death domain suddenly closed in his body, and then exploded in an instant. His eyes glowed with scarlet light, and his murderous intent was unleashed. When has Haoti and Douluo ever been afraid of his opponents? Qiang Sunji and Jugue Douluo, who were both at level 95 when they first entered title Douluo, were so skinny that a camel was bigger than a horse. Could it be that they couldn't defeat a mere poisoned Douluo today, even though they had hidden injuries? Douluo Bo beat his son like this, so he must give Douluo Bo a good beating. Otherwise, if his son is being abused in front of his eyes and he comes out to protect him, he will just walk away without doing anything. That would be an insult to the reputation of Haoti and Douluo. The battle between strong men is either a battle of auras or a battle of all-out effort without any slack. At the moment when Tang Hao's God of Killing Realm was truly released, Douluo Bo had completed the use of his 7th soul skill, Wuhuan Avatar, and transformed into one with the huge dragon-headed snake body monster behind him. Become a true golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor. A dragon roar resounded in all directions. The cave was filled with dust, and yellow sand filled the sky. Lu Bao, who was refining medicine near the eye of ice and fire, could feel the ground shaking, and the stinging sound tortured his eardrums. Several ghost soldiers were shattered by the terrifying aura. As for Lu Bao, he was blown dozens of meters away by the blown sand. Chapter 94 Poison Douluo vs. Haotian Douluo Part 2 Lu Haoli didn't know what was happening in the distance. He only knew that the commotion was probably caused by Douluo Bo, who had just completed the evolution of his martial soul. Could it be that Douluo Bo was fighting a strong man? After taking the alchemy furnace from the blazing Yanchuan and placing it on the shore, Lu Baoli turned into a shadow and swam in the direction of the restlessness. If it were a battle between titled Douluo with only level 50 soul power, Lu Haobao would definitely not be able to participate, but at least he could be an assistant to Douluo Bo to increase various attribute increases, and he could also summon the Black Shadow Core to hold off the enemy. Create favorable attack opportunities for Douluo Bo. All of Lu Baoli's soul skills are controlled or assisted by affecting shadows. With his current strength, he can control a strong soul saint who has not activated his martial soul's true form. Above the soul saint, all of Lu Hao's soul skills had no effect on their shadows. However, if the other party is willing, even if it is a peerless Douluo, Lu Haoli can assist the peerless Douluo shadow, and he will not feel any difficulty in the assisting process, and the soul power consumption will not increase as a result. While thinking about the various dangers he would face, Lu Baobai also quickly rushed in the direction of Douluo Bo with the increase of the 2nd soul skill shadow attack. Douluo Bo was the only confirmed backer at present, so he couldn't let anything happen to him. At the same time, the cave within the Jade Phosphorus Snake Venom Formation had been shattered and collapsed by the collision of Tang, Hao, and Douluo Bo's auras. When Douluo Bo used his martial soul true form, Tang Hao had already rescued Tang San and put him in a safe place, while he took off his black robe and faced Douluo with all his strength. In the dust all over the sky, Douluo, who had transformed into a golden-scaled jade snake emperor, and Tang Hao, who was holding the clear sky hammer, were fighting fiercely. The surging soul power auras collided, the terrifying energy collided, and the huge clear sky hammer smashed down, blocking with the tough golden snake body. The sound of the dancing hammer breaking through the air and the piercing roar of the dragon echoed one after another in the sand and dust. The battle between the two titled Douluo was very fierce and anxious. Tang Hao flashed several soul rings in succession, and all his soul skills were used to increase the attack and power of the clear sky hammer. The clear sky hammer suddenly expanded several times and slammed towards the head of the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor. Douluo, who transformed into a golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor, drove his tough snake body, and with a flick of the divine dragon's tail, he knocked away the huge clear sky hammer that was heading towards the head. The golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor opened his jaws wide, and Medusa's skull skill Misha gazing merged the dual attributes of poison and earth, and a swirling golden light exploded out of her mouth. Tang Hao used a certain soul bone skill to greatly strengthen the attack of the Haotian hammer. Haotian 9-ju, Jinzi-ju. I saw the huge clear sky hammer smashing into the golden beam shot by Douluo with a loud bang. The explosive breath instantly shattered the attack of the golden beam, and the energy ripples generated by the skill blast rushed in all directions, causing the air suddenly solidified like stone. Seeing Tang Hao easily dispelling Medusa gaze, which combines poison and earth attributes, how could Douluo, who transformed into a golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor, not be surprised? Medusa gaze already has the power to petrify everything, and with the increase of earth attributes, coupled with the corrosion of the poison, it is another full blow from the spirit's true form, and its ring-breaking power is enough to petrify a large area of the sea. But such a powerful blow was instantly shattered by Tang Hao's hammer blow. Douluo lamented the power of the clear sky hammer. At the same time, he was also charging up his 8th soul skill, time freezing. This was a skill that required a huge amount of soul power and was powerful enough to completely lock time within a radius of several thousand square meters. When this soul skill is released, coupled with the terrifying corrosive force and explosive power formed by the compression of the 9th soul skill, even if it cannot destroy Tang Hao's body, it can still seriously injure him. If a seriously injured person inhales another mouthful of Jade Phosphorus Snake King venom, the outcome will be clear. This was Douluo's plan, to spend all his soul power to seriously injure Tang Hao, and then use the corrosive poison from the sand in the sky to infiltrate Tang Hao's wounds, and finally slowly melt and corrupt him, turning him into a puddle of mud. After Tang Hao smashed the golden beam shot by Douluo, he had already exploded the first soul ring. It was not easy for him to neutralize Douluo's golden beam attack just now. If it weren't for the ring explosion and the killing god field, there are also soul ring skills and soul bone skills. With his own comprehensive increase, it is absolutely impossible for Tang Hao to crush Douluo's attack. At this moment, Tang Hao discovered that Douluo had great strength. If he continued to fight with his injured body for a long time, the hidden injuries would worsen and his body would become dilapidated. Tang Hao never expected that Douluo suddenly became stronger. Originally, he just wanted to use the name of Haotian Douluo to scare Douluo and then rescue his son Tang San, but he really didn't expect that he would have a head-on conflict with Douluo. No wonder Douluo is not afraid of Haotian Douluo's reputation. It turns out that his strength is greatly increased and he has gained confidence. Thinking of this, Tang Hao's scarlet eyes became firm again. He is not a person who likes to analyze opponents or is timid in battle. He uses the most domineering power to crush everything until any opponent is defeated in front of him. This is Tang Hao's fighting philosophy. Douluo, who transformed into a golden-scaled Jade Snake King, seemed to notice something abnormal about Tang Hao's body. Medusa's skull suddenly released an extremely strong white light for testing. Tang Hao used one of his soul bone skills to swing out a crescent-like red chop with his violent hammerhead. The white light collided with the red chopper, causing a loud bang. The chopper energy turned into gravel and fell under the impact of the white light. Seeing this scene, Tang Hao was glad that he had a complete set of soulbone skills. Even if he used all his soul power to wrap his body to resist the corrosive poison in the sandstorm, he could still use his soul bone skills to attack Douluo. It's just that the burst of soul power just now caused his old injuries to relapse, and some of his already damaged organs and meridians began to feel severe pain. Tang Hao endured the pain of the old injury. His face remained as indifferent as before, and his murderous aura was very fierce. At this moment, the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor used the smoke and sandstorm generated by the collision of skills just now as cover. The huge snake body quietly came behind Tang Hao and wrapped him tightly. The golden-green scales sprouted barbs and pierced Tang Hao. Hao's body was filled with the jade, phosphorus snake emperor poison injected into his body. Under this poisonous attack, the protection of the soul force film covering Tang Hao's body lost its effect. The terrifying toxin entered Tang Hao's body through the barbs on the golden scales. Douluo, who transformed into the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor, drove the snake body to wrap Tang Hao even tighter. He couldn't help but secretly smile in his heart. Even if he was as powerful as Douluo, once the snake venom entered his body, he would have a narrow escape. Tang Hao endured the severe pain of being entangled by the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor and the hidden wounds infected by snake venom. The sixth soul ring lit up, and 6 huge Haotian hammers appeared around the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor. Each Haotian hammer hit the golden-scaled Green Snake Emperor's snake body fiercely. Haotian's 9 Ju, breaking words Ju. Under the terrifying power of Haotian and the increase in the realm of the God of Death, the attack of the 6 hammerheads can be said to have reached an extremely terrifying level. I saw 6 hammerheads swinging, bringing out red light, and hitting the head of the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor at the same time, instantly breaking through the defense of the golden-green scales and smashing the head with several deep cracks. The golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor is the true form of Douluo's martial spirit. In other words, the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor's head is Douluo's head. What will be the consequences if his head is hit by 6 giant hammers with extremely destructive power? Douluo, who transformed into a golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor, felt as if his head was going to explode. Fortunately, he was protected by the soul bone of Medusa's head. Otherwise, his head would have spurted out a lot of blood. After being hit in the head by 6 hammers, the huge snake body wrapped around Tang Hao by the golden-scaled Jade Snake King also loosened. Tang Hao took the opportunity to escape. The remaining 8 soul rings flashed on his body. The first one was yellow, purple, and purple. The 3 soul rings exploded simultaneously. The realm of the God of Death was released, and the endless killing energy spread. Tang Hao endured the burden on his body from exploding 3 soul rings, jumped up, and raised the clear sky hammer high. The 7th soul skill, Haotian Incarnation. A scarlet and huge phantom suddenly appeared in the sky. The red phantom held up the Haotian hammer and hit the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor with a hammer, as unstoppable as a falling meteorite. Seeing the huge clear sky hammer falling straight down, Douluo, who transformed into a golden-scaled Green Snake Emperor, immediately used his newly acquired power to control the earth. The golden and green aura suddenly exploded to form a dense golden poisonous mist, and countless thick rock walls fell from it. The ground rushed out, layer by layer, forming a semicircular shield made of rocks to protect Douluo. At the same time, the huge Haotian hammer exploded down, and the 9 Ju penetrating words of Haotian enhanced the penetrating power of the hammerhead, breaking through the layers of rock wall defense condensed by Douluo. The extremely violent energy auras collided, causing the ice and fire eyes in the distance to shake. After the 100-meter huge clear sky hammer destroyed the semicircular shield made of rocks, Tang Hao thought the battle was over. But unexpectedly, Douluo, who transformed into a golden-scaled Green Snake Emperor, had already used the Earth attribute to escape underground and evacuated the place in time. At this moment, the golden-scaled Jade Snake King soared from the ground into the sky, stirring up dust again. The 8th soul skill time freeze was released, and everything around him seemed to be frozen like stone. The wind did not blow, the grass did not move, and even Tang Hao, who was stagnant in the air with the clear sky hammer, could not move his body. Only Douluo's voice could be heard. There was a sound in the solidified air. 9th soul skill, Jade Phosphorus Divine Light. The next moment, Douluo, who transformed into a golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor. His body became completely transparent, changing from real to virtual, and then from virtual to real. The terrifying corrosive poison that originally caused a large-scale attack was all compressed in his mouth. Under the action of the violent jet force, the golden flash in the golden-scaled Jade Snake Emperor's jaws exploded instantly, and a golden-green beam of light exploded out from in front of his jaws, carrying a violent sound of breaking through the air and terrifying corrosive poison towards Tang Dynasty. Hao's position flew away. Although his body was frozen, Tang Hao's mental power was able to lock on to the energy attack that Douluo spit out from behind. At this moment, he could no longer hesitate. If he wanted to live and rescue his son Tang San safely, he had to live. Now, if he wants to gain the power to break through Douluo's time freeze, he can only blow up his wife, Yin's 9th soul ring. The 9th soul ring, shining with red light, exploded and rotated on Tang Hao's body, and finally turned into red light points, exploded and merged into his body. The power generated by blowing up the 9th soul ring allowed Tang Hao's frozen body to move. He turned around, and the clear sky hammer in his hand instantly expanded several times. The 8th soul skill, the power of the clear sky. The energy released after the 100,000-year-old soul ring was exploded was extremely huge. While enduring this energy to strengthen himself, Tang Hao also suffered endless pain. Hidden wounds occurred everywhere, and the snake venom that had already entered his body infected his body. The strength of every organ and body is also declining rapidly. If this move fails to defeat Douluo, he will only die. The great Sumeru hammer collided with the golden beam of light emitted by Douluo, and a destructive energy filled hundreds of meters in an instant. All the plants and valleys nearby were turned into ruins. Lu Haoli rushed to Douluo's location from the Ice and Fire Eyes. He was first immobilized by time, and then blown away by this terrifying destructive energy. Fortunately, his body was strong enough to withstand such an explosive energy shock, otherwise he would have died. It's not as simple as being blown away, but the body is bursting with energy. Lu Haoli immediately activated the Shadow Tomb domain, and the light black light covered hundreds of meters in a radius to resist the energy attack. With the blessing of the domain, he finally stabilized his figure in front of the terrifying wind of energy. His strange pupils flashed, and he looked ahead. The sandstorm turned into ruins. Damn it! Lu Haoli cursed in his mind. He felt that he couldn't get too close. Otherwise, he wouldn't know how he would die. At that moment, all he could do was hide in a safe place and help Douluo. While rushing to Douluo's battlefield, Lu Haoli focused all his mental energy on the soul-eating ring and the pink ring he wore on his left hand, letting the Black Shadow generals bound by the two rings merge. He wants to fuse the Shadow-devouring group and the Poisonous Shadow group into a giant poisonous group, and rely on the terrifying mixed poison of the giant poisonous group to cooperate with Douluo's snake venom. By then, no matter who the strong man is who fights Douluo, he will definitely fleeing or even dying from various toxins. After everything calmed down, there are no more sandstorms blowing, and there is only ruins around. Tang Hao disappeared. Douluo released his 8th and 9th soul skills one after another, and he was hit so hard by the clear sky hammer that his soul power and physical strength were running low. The martial soul's real body state was released, and he returned to his human form from the golden-scaled Jade Snake King. Fell to the ground weakly, covered with bruises, his green eyes constantly searching for traces of Tang Hao. Suddenly, the huge clear sky hammer fell from the sky. Looking at the shadow of the hammer appearing on the ground, Douluo was so frightened that his pupils could not help but dilate, and he was panicking. Is Tang Hao not dead? Just when Douluo was about to flee, he was half kneeling on the ground due to his serious injuries. nearly exhausted of his physical and spiritual energy. Just as the clear sky hammer continued to fall towards his Tianling cap, a strange scene appeared. A faint black light instantly enveloped the area where Douluo was. At the same time, Douluo felt as if he had received some kind of increase. His soul and physical strength were almost exhausted, and all his physical conditions had improved. Douluo was secretly shocked. The light black light that enveloped him had a familiar feeling. Noticing that his shadow on the ground had become stronger, Douluo suddenly realized that this was Lu Bao's shadow realm. Chapter 95 Poison versus Haoyin Part 2. While panicking, Douluo heard this sentence in his mind. Senior, relax. Don't resist my influence on your shadow. Otherwise, I can't help you. Now you have my second soul skill Shadow Strike, and the fourth soul skill Shadow Swallowing, as well as the amplification effect of the Shadow Tomb domain. All attributes have been increased by a full 50%. You already have the ability to turn into a shadow. You still remember Yu Tianheng and the others at Tiando Royal Academy. Do you want to fight with Shrek's team? Hurry up and turn into shadows like Yu Tianheng and others to escape the danger. After listening, Douluo finally understood that Lu Baobo had conveyed the message to him through shadow communication. The sudden increase in physical attributes was caused by Lu Bao, who was hiding hundreds of meters away. All attributes increased by 50%? What kind of increase is this? Douluo looked incredulous. Even Ning Fengji, the best auxiliary soul master in the world, couldn't increase a soul master's attributes by 50% with only 4 soul rings, right? The huge clear sky hammer fell straight down. Douluo, who was originally unable to escape, got the help of Lu Bao's soul skills. When the huge clear sky hammer hit him, he turned into a shadow and escaped to the surface, and then traveled to other shadow areas to hide in a thrilling way. Launched the clear sky hammer's attack. The huge 100-meter-high clear sky hammer fell with a bang, and the earth shook. Tang Hao, who was stagnant in midair, was surprised. After Douluo released his 8th and 9th soul skills, he still had the energy to escape from the attack range of the 100-meter clear sky hammer. Tang Hao also noticed that in his God of Death domain, there were other people's domains. When did Douluo have a domain? No. This is not Douluo's domain. Tang Hao was unable to detect the aura of the domain releaser by relying on his mental power detection. However, the combination of his extreme eyesight and mental power allowed him to observe unusual movements within a radius of several hundred meters like a clairvoyant. Finally, Tang Hao found a hill hundreds of meters away. A black shadow lurks on the ground. Although there is no soul ring light, there are fluctuations in soul power, and that black shadow was none other than Lu Baoli, who had turned into a shadow and escaped to the surface, blocking the detection of his own aura and mental power. In a flash, Tang Hao had disappeared into the air and arrived at the foot of the mountain, where Lu Bao was in an instant. When Douluo discovered that Tang Hao had disappeared, he immediately turned into a shadow and rushed towards Lu Bao's location quickly. After learning through shadow communication that Tang Hao had discovered his whereabouts, Lu Bao was not afraid of the backlash and did not run away. Instead, he changed back to his human form from his shadow state. The moment Tang Hao's figure appeared in front of him, Lu Baolon smiled faintly and exchanged places with a stone hundreds of meters away. When he was discovered by the 2 titled Douluo, Ailer and Snake Spear, in the Star Do Great Forest, Lu Haoli had already experienced the terrifying detection abilities of Tidal Douluo. With this experience in mind, how could he be stupid enough to just sit back and wait for death? This time, it is not so much that Tang Hao discovered Lu Bao, but that Lu Bao deliberately let Tang Hao find out. The purpose was to lure Tang Hao under this hill and let him fall into the trap that he had prepared in advance. Trap. Tang Hao had just appeared in front of Lu Batty, and Lu Batty just used Shadow Swap to disappear, and a small stone fell to the ground instead. Tang Hao was a little surprised when he saw the small stone falling to the ground. It took him a moment to realize that this should be some kind of displacement skill. Senior Tang Hao, at the foot of this mountain is the cemetery I carefully selected for you. Now that you are here, you must not let down your good intentions as a junior. The sound came from far away. Tang Hao turned around and looked forward. There was only the mysterious mountain forest in front of him. There was no trace of anyone, and he could not sense any presence. What Tang Hao hated was that he couldn't even see what the guy who stopped him from killing Douluo looked like. This was what made him most angry. Suddenly, four giant demon spiders, which were 30 meters high, turned dark pink all over and looked extremely ferocious, fell from the sky. The four giant demon spiders formed an encirclement, trapping Tang Hao at the foot of the mountain, and let out a tearing roar. These four dark pink giant demon spiders are called giant poison soldiers. They are a giant poisonous group formed by the fusion of the shadow devouring group and the poison shadow group. As the shadow generals, the soul-eating demon spider and the pink empress, when their shadows merge, the summoned shadow core will be a new shadow core formed by the fusion of the two. Every giant poison soldier in the giant poison group not only inherits the devouring poison and corpse poison of the soul-eating spider, but can also release the exciting poison of the pink empress. When the mixed poison formed by the fusion of these toxins is released, the air over hundreds of meters in radius will be dyed with endless black poisonous mist. Enemies trapped in the black poisonous mist will have their vision blocked, and may also become extremely irritable due to the poisoning, suffer from rapid reduction of soul power and physical strength, and suffer from body stiffness. The poison occurs only in an instant. Lu Haoli had already completed the fusion of the two shadow generals when he arrived, and he deliberately brought Tang Hao here because he wanted to use the mixed poison released by the giant poison group to deal with Tang Hao. He didn't expect the giant poisonous mass to poison Tang Hao, as long as Tang Hao's hidden injuries could relapse. Seeing that he was surrounded by four huge dark pink spiders, Tang Hao still refused to retreat, trying to explode another soul ring to gain strength. However, he still underestimated the speed of the poisonous mist released by the giant poison soldiers. In just an instant, the large amount of black mist ejected from the mouths of the four giant poison soldiers had turned the area hundreds of meters in radius into black. Trapped in the black poisonous mist, Tang Hao could not see clearly what was going on around him, and could only rely on his mental power and murderous intent to sense the existence of objects. At the same time as he lost his vision, Tang Hao also felt that his body had become stiff and his soul power and physical strength were rapidly losing. He was about to use the explosive ring, but unexpectedly, he was seriously injured in the battle with Douluo. His body's strength dropped sharply, and it was difficult to withstand the explosion. The load brought by the ring. When the surroundings were enveloped by the black poisonous mist released by the giant poison soldiers, Lu Haoli jumped up, and the black energy entangled in his body condensed into an 8-foot black spear in his hand, and he quickly rushed towards Tang Hao's position. The black mist can block his vision, so he doesn't have to worry that Tang Hao will see his face. In fact, there is no need to worry, because at this time, Tang Hao not only has new injuries caused by Douluo to him, but also old injuries are maiming him. Now that the black poisonous mist from the giant poisonous mass was rapidly draining Tang Hao's physical and soul power, Lu Haoli felt that he could kill the half-crippled Tang Hao alone. Forcibly twisting his body in the air, Lu Haoli danced the shadow-breaking spear and wrapped the black aura around the head of the gun. This was accompanied by the effect of the ultimate ice and fire properties. Once stabbed by the spearhead, he would be poisoned by extreme cold poison and fire poison. 10 ghost soldiers escaped from the air beside Lu Haoli, also holding 8-foot black spears in their hands. Now in the Shadow Tomb realm, Lu Haoli has a 10% increase in all attributes. He then peels off the 4 shadows superimposed on Douluo and superimposes them on himself, obtaining a 40% increase in all attributes. All the soul skill amplifications were applied to himself. Lu Haoli raised his shadow-breaking gun. His strange eyes radiated cold light, and he launched the instant prison shadow killing formation while Tang Hao was blocked by the black poisonous mist of the giant poisonous mass. The 10 ghost soldiers who appeared held long spears and rushed forward with the wind, rushing towards Tang Hao's position at extremely fast speeds. Noticing the approaching murderous intent, Tang Hao could not see the enemy's actions clearly, but he relied on the god of killing domain to feel the fluctuations of the murderous intent. He suffered hidden injuries from corpse poison, devouring poison, excitement poison, as well as the wounds he suffered from the battle with Douluo just now. tortured by the jade phosphorus snake emperor's poison. He swung the clear sky hammer with all his strength and blasted away the incoming ghost soldiers one by one. Frequently swinging the clear sky hammer, Tang Hao's physical strength was rapidly draining away. The mixed poison released by the 4 giant poison soldiers finally made him a little confused and his body stiff. At this moment, with the help of several ghost soldiers as a feint attack, Lu Haoli had quietly attacked. He raised his shadow-breaking spear and charged forward with the wind. The black spearhead pointed directly at Tang Hao's heart and stabbed him suddenly. Tang Hao's body moved to the right, trying to avoid the spearhead stab by Lu Haoli, but he was infected by various toxins on the hidden wounds. His body slowed down for a moment, and his left shoulder was stabbed by the spearhead wrapped in black energy. Phew! Blood splashed like fireworks. With a twist of Lu Haoli's wrist, the spearhead that had penetrated Tang Hao's body rotated. He kicked forward fiercely, and the spearhead penetrated Tang Hao's body directly, stabbing him hard against the rock wall. Tang Hao held the shadow-breaking gun that pierced his left shoulder with his left hand and let out a scream as he endured endless torture. Even a strong man like him, whose body became extremely weak after the ring explosion, could not easily withstand the violent attack. Not to mention a special weapon like the shadow-breaking gun that directly causes damage to shadows. Although the hidden wounds recurred and he was tortured by various toxins that penetrated his body, Tang Hao couldn't help but scream out, his pale voice echoing in the black poisonous mist. Lu Haoli held the gun with both hands and raised it. The gun head that penetrated Tang Hao's left shoulder instantly cut off Tang Hao's shadow's left hand. The damage to the shadow came back to Tang Hao, and the left hand holding the shadow-breaking gun was also picked up. Broken, separated from the body along with the bones, the severed left arm fell from the air. Blood flew everywhere, and Tang Hao screamed in agony. Chapter 96 Ring Explosion. The idea of fusion of the 9 shadow generals. The left arm was cut off alive, and the severe pain of torn flesh and broken bones was instantly transmitted to the brain. Tang Hao's screams and the blood splashing like fireworks formed an extremely tragic scene. How could Tang Hao, who had the strength of a titled Douluo and was blessed by 6 soul bones, have his arm cut off by a mere 4th ring soul king named Lu Haoli? When Tang Hao discovered Lu Haoli's soul power fluctuations, he thought that this person was just a soul king of around level 50, so he thought of killing him as soon as possible, so that Douluo would have no one to help him and become a waiting person. The slaughtered lamb. Tang Hao would never have thought that he would become the lamb now. Even though he had 6 soul bones to strengthen himself, he was seriously injured in the battle with Douluo and suffered from an old disease. The ring and the 9th soul ring were all blown up, and now there are only 4 soul rings left on the body. In other words, Tang Hao only had 4 soul rings to strengthen his body, and the remaining soul rings that had been blown up had been converted into his own power. However, this power had been used up, and his body's strength dropped sharply. He was also tortured by various poisons, and his physical strength was reduced. The rapid loss of soul power, and in this extremely weak state, led to his left arm being broken off by a mere soul king. If Tang Hao's head soul bone hadn't kept him awake at all times in the black poisonous mist, I'm afraid it wasn't his left arm that was severed just now, but his heart. At that moment, Tang Hao had only 2 choices, either to blow up all 4 remaining soul rings and use his last strength to die with the enemy, or to flee in panic. As long as he saves his life, his son Tang San can be rescued safely. Tang Hao still has too many secrets that he has not told Tang San, and he has not guided Tang San to practice the clear sky hammer. If he died, Tang San would have no one to protect him and would be in all kinds of dangers. At that time, how could he face his wife, Ain, when he was under the influence of Jiuquan, and how could he stand up to the sex who suffered misfortune because of his own insistence? Thinking of this, Tang Hao's screams stopped abruptly. He used his soul power to resist the poisonous backlash and the pain of new injuries and old illnesses all over his body. The god of killing domain erupted again, and the cold, murderous aura condensed on his blood-stained left shoulder. Draw out an energy arm. The murderous wind blowing caused Tang Hao's momentum to rise suddenly. With the increase of mental power from the soul bone of his head, He broke through the shielding effect of Lu Bao's second soul skill Shadow Attack, which blocked the aura and mental power detection, and finally locked on Lu Bad position. His pupils glowed red, and Tang Hao's murderous intent kept getting closer to Lu Bao as his figure moved. In an instant, Lu Baoli felt like he was being restrained. The so-called emaciated camel was bigger than a horse. Although Tang Hao was in an extremely weak state, the suppression caused by the huge gap in soul power levels was there. What's more, the killing God Realm offset Tang Hao's weakening of all attributes of the Shadow Tomb Realm, which made Lu Bao look so weak in front of Tang Hao. However, Lu Baoyang did not panic because of this. Because Douluo arrived, and with his current strength, he was unable to use the Shadow Swap skill on Tang Hao's Shadow. However, as Douluo was voluntarily controlled by the Shadow, he could use it with him perform a Shadow Swap. In the black poisonous mist, Tang Hao noticed that what appeared in front of him was no longer the Soul King who broke off his left arm, but Douluo's aura. Douluo also knew through shadow communication that Lu Baoyang wanted to exchange places with him. When he came to Tang Hao in place of Lu Baoyang, Douluo had already obtained the superposition of 4 shadows again, and all attributes increased by 40%. Golden aura burst out from the body, and the huge golden-scaled jade snake emperor martial spirit rose into the sky, and a jade phosphorus snake spit out purple poison, heading towards Tang Hao's injured left shoulder. Tang Hao naturally noticed the poisonous attack coming towards him. His left arm and right arm formed by murderous aura were crossed in front of his chest to block it. The soul bone skill of his torso bone formed a translucent protective shield to resist the poisonous explosion. The violent poisonous rays hit this translucent protective shield and were unable to break through its defense. Tang Hao was very surprised. Even Douluo couldn't break the shield skill of this torso bone. How did the Soul King, who broke off his left arm, do it? Naturally, Tang Hao never imagined that Lu Bao's shadow-breaking gun could ignore any shield defense and directly attack the shadow of a living body. If the shadow is injured, the living body will also suffer the same damage. Therefore, no matter how excellent Tang Hao's shield skills are, he can't resist the attack of the shadow-breaking gun. After all the poisonous rays were blocked by the protective shield, Tang Hao was only forced back a few meters without any impact on his body. Just when he was about to blow up a soul ring to gain strength, Douluo, who had obtained the shadow boost, struck first. Douluo used his remaining soul power to activate his third soul skill, Jade Phosphorus Snake Venom Array. The green phosphorus snake venom, mixed with the earth attribute, formed a 5-meter poisonous swamp under Tang Hao's feet. Tang Hao's feet were trapped in the poisonous swamp. The poisonous gas began to corrode his feet and slowly melted the soles of his feet. Feeling that the flesh under his feet was being corrupted bit by the poisonous swamp, Tang Hao immediately exploded his soul power and jumped up using the impact of his soul power on the ground. At the same time, a purple poisonous dragon whose whole body was made of rocks suddenly rushed out of the poisonous swamp. When Tang Hao left the poisonous swamp, the poisonous dragon opened its jaws and bit Tang Hao's legs directly in its mouth. Tang Hao pulled out his left leg with all his strength and kicked hard at the poisonous dragon's mouth. The concussive force formed by the murderous aura and soul power instantly shattered the poisonous dragon into powder and scattered it. Stagnated in midair, Tang Hao realized that the area below the knee of his right leg had been melted and shattered by the venom from the poisonous dragon's mouth, and countless blood spilled from the air. First his left arm was cut off, and now half of his right leg was lost. This was not only a physical injury, but also had a huge impact on Tang Hao's cultivation. Both the left hand and the right leg have absorbed soul bones. Now that they are separated from the body, it means that the 2 soul bones that strengthened the body have disappeared. The soul power suddenly dropped 20 levels, from a titled Douluo to a mere soul saint of more than 70 levels. Tang Hao did not dare to hesitate at all. He endured the endless pain of severed limbs and all kinds of poisons, and blew up the 7th soul ring that could use the martial soul's true form. The force generated by the explosion of the soul ring allowed him to briefly recover his rapidly losing physical strength and soul power. Holding high the Haotian hammer, which is constantly expanding and getting bigger, the great Summer hammer launches forcefully. The energy emitted by the explosive ring was extremely huge. Douluo relied on his strong strength to withstand the shock of this energy. Lu Bao jumped on top of a giant poison soldier, and the other 3 giant poison soldiers stood in front of him to take his place. He resisted the destruction of energy released by the clear sky hammer. The shadow-breaking gun was held behind him, his strange pupils flashing with dim light. Lu Haoli stood on top of the giant poison soldiers, condescending, using his strange pupils' clairvoyance to keep an eye on Tang Hao's every move in the black poisonous mist. Is that the ring explosion? Lu Bao's pupils dilated, and he could see the whole process of Tang Hao blowing up the soul ring with his clairvoyance. At this moment, Tang Hao took advantage of the missed opportunity to smash the huge clear sky hammer into the poisonous swamp. A more terrifying destructive energy suddenly erupted, and hundreds of meters in radius were instantly razed to the ground. The 4 giant poison soldiers blocking Lu Hao's front were all shattered by the terrifying energy, while Lu Hao was blown dozens of meters away by the wind of energy. Douluo forcibly used his martial spirit true form, transformed into a golden-scaled Jade Snake King, turned into a shadow, and shuttled under Lu Bao's shadow, using his tough snake body to protect Lu Bao in it, so that he could not be destroyed by the energy of the great samurai hammer. After everything calms down, the smoke dissipated and the black poisonous fog disappeared. Tang Hao's figure has disappeared, leaving only a leg soul bone and a severed left arm left in the ruins. The martial soul's true form was released, and Douluo transformed from the golden-scaled Jade Snake King back to his human form. He breathed a long sigh of relief after he could no longer feel Tang Hao's breath. "Boy, are you okay?" Douluo looked at Lu Bao standing next to him. "It's okay." Lu Bao also breathed a sigh of relief, pretending not to know. "Senior, why did you suddenly get into a fight with a titled Douluo?" "Fortunately, I arrived in time. Otherwise, you would have been killed by that terrifying hammer." The martial spirit was smashed into pulp. That titled Douluo's name is Tang Hao, and he is titled Haotian. The martial spirit hammer, just now, is the Haotian hammer of the #1 sect in the world. Douluo said truthfully, "I captured Tang San. I wanted to peel off the attached soul bone from Tang San's body, but unexpectedly the soul bone had been completely integrated with Tang San's body. I was about to kill Tang San. At that time, Tang Hao ran out. At that time, I didn't expect that Tang San was a twin martial spirit, and he was actually Tang Hao's son. Senior, you were so greedy. You want to snatch something good when you see it." Lu Bao said sarcastically. "If you snatch the soul bone of someone's son, it would be strange if they don't beat you to death. What do you know? This is the unspoken rule on the mainland." Douluo put his hands behind his back and was covered with bruises, but he said confidently, "The external soul bone is rarer than a 100,000-year soul ring. No matter which strong person, seeing such a treasure appear in front of you, who can guarantee that you don't have evil intentions? If the wealth is not exposed, the main reason is that Tang San exposed the attached soul bone in public." "Where's Tang San?" Lu Bao asked. "Did you kill him?" Douluo shook his head. "At that time, my soul power only stunned him, but did not kill him. Maybe Tang San was buried by the collapsed cave, or maybe he was rescued by Tang Hao." Speaking of this, Douluo lamented, "If your assistance hadn't come in time, I would have been hammered to death by Tang Hao." Alas, the Haotian sect's explosive rings are indeed well-deserved. It seems that many years ago, Tang Hao fought alone against many titles in the Spirit Hall. Douluo is real. Blast ring? Is that ring blast? What a domineering technique. Tang Hao is already so weak, but after using ring blast, he can still fight as if nothing happened, and his fighting power becomes stronger every time. While thinking, Lu Bao was also there to recall the whole process of Tang Hao using the explosive ring. The strange pupils have the ability to see through. When Tang Hao used the ring explosion, Lu Bao could clearly see the energy transformation when the soul ring exploded through the strange pupils. The energy in Tang Hao's body was injected into the soul ring in an instant, detonating the soul ring, and then integrated the broken soul ring energy into himself, gaining strength far beyond his original strength. This is the whole process of ring explosion. Lu Bao thought that if he bound the 9 shadow generals to the soul ring in the future, He might be able to use the idea of exploding the ring to study how to integrate the 9 shadow generals with himself. If the Haotian sect's ring explosion is comparable to a divine skill, then the technique that is born after fusing and binding the soul rings of the 9 shadow generals is definitely more powerful than the divine skill. While talking, Lu Bao found a strange light flashing among the ruins. I ran over and took a look, and it turned out to be a leg soul bone. In the battle just now, the part of Tang Hao's right leg below the knee was dissolved by corrosive poison, so the right leg bone exploded. In addition, among the ruins was Tang Hao's lost left hand. All the extreme fire energy in his body was concentrated in his right pupil, and Lu Baohao burned his left hand to ashes, finally turning it into a left arm bone shining with dark cyan light. Looking at the 2 soul bones in the ruins, Lu Baoli couldn't help but smile. One was a right leg bone, and the other was a left arm bone. The original book was right. Instead of exploding soul bones on the soul beast, it would be better to exploding the soul bones on the soul master. It's so simple. No wonder Douluo is greedy for Tang San's external soul bone. Are these soul bones? It turns out that not only Tang San is lucky, but Tang Hao also has so many soul bones. Douluo came to Lu Baoan's side and found 2 shining bone-like objects on the ground, with a look in his eyes. A touch of greed. Lu Baohai picked up 2 soul bones, handed them both to Douluo, and said, "Senior, you should only have the head soul bone, right? I'll give you these 2 soul bones. After absorbing these 2 soul bones, maybe your soul power will improve." Douluo frowned. Judging from the energy contained in these 2 soul bones, they are both extremely high-quality soul bones. I'm afraid I won't be able to come across such a rare treasure in the future. Don't you want it? I don't need soul bones now. Lu Baoxiao shook his head and said seriously, "Senior, Tang Hao is missing. Although his legs and left hand are disabled, 2 soul bones were peeled off from his body. It is estimated that his cultivation level has declined. A lot. But you have to guard against it. Now that you have provoked Tang Hao, if Tang Hao asks the Haotian sect to deal with you, your situation will be very dangerous." At that time, there was a black, poisonous fog blocking the vision. When I used the shadow-breaking gun to pick off Tang Hao's left hand, he couldn't see my face clearly, so I don't have to worry about Tang Hao's revenge. Senior, I'm just a level 50 person. Soul King, if the Haotian sect really comes to seek revenge on you, it will be difficult for me to help you. You can only solve it on your own. You can use a large area of poisonous mist to poison the people of the Haotian sect, but the strong ones of the...
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.